Make sure y'all get them likes up. Get them likes up. Make sure y'all get them likes up. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to King's Talk on Lapeef Network. What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing?
What's going on, bro?
Word,
What's
famo?
good, family?
Man, y'all looking good. Y'all looking good.
Appreciate it, brother.
Introduce the panel for the night. We got Trill. We got Rella. We got the kosher clinician. Guapo. Wapo, my bad. And we got Shan. Me and myself, I'm Lapeef JR. Welcome to King Talk. Again, it's a pleasure to have all you guys here all at the same time in one place. You know it's going to be something special when we see that. That's how it all originated, right? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Can church say amen?
Yeah, you good.
Amen, amen.
You good, you good.
Okay. All right. I know y'all trying to go downstairs and eat, but we got to get this word in first. Got to get this word in. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to King Talk, as I said before. Make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We do have memberships open. Memberships are open, so we ask that you join. We'll be definitely catering to the members. That's to the members of the channel. So, yeah, shout out to our sponsor tonight, which is Teej Hanley. Teej Hanley. Make sure you guys click the link in the description, and you get a free gift. Our topic of the night, which you guys seen in the thumbnail, which is a woman's role. A woman's role. It's very important. It's very important to identify this and discuss this topic. Before we dive into that, I just want to ask you guys a question. Let's put some qualities together that describes a man that exhibits leadership, shows confidence, and would be the ideal husband. I'm going to start with you, Shan.
Oh, the ideal things that's required. Well, you know, it's funny you asked that because I did a show the other day called 6 Things That Every Man over 40 years old needs to be a zaddy, right? A zaddy with a Z. So since I'm an older fella, 49 years old, I'm touching on 50 next year. I'm gonna give you the qualities that I believe that all men, especially men who intend to be husbands, and especially men who intend to be husbands and they're over 40. Maybe they've never been married, or maybe they're widowed or divorced and they want to get back into a marriage. You know, you got to be 6 things for sure: assertive, decisive, self-sufficient. Men over 40 never complain. No complaining. You got to be cool, calm, and collective, and you got to get shit done. Those are the 6 things. Those are the basics. Now I can get deeper into them, but I'm gonna let the other brothers speak. But those are 6 things that you must have if you want to be over 40 years old and be desirable by the women that you desire.
Okay. Go to you, Wapo. Some qualities that describe a man that exhibits leadership, shows confidence, and would be the ideal husband.
Great question. What's good, panel? Good to see you all again. It's been a little while.
Been a while, Guapo. Where you been, man?
Man, I've been hiding out. I had to sneak my girl out of Colombia, man. I had to call in some favors. You know,
smuggle them in.
That's right. So, leadership, that is my specialty. Leadership is having power and being able to administer justice fairly. Okay. So we are the more powerful sex, and we want to be just in how we administer that power in our households, in our relationships, especially with our spouse. We're talking about having a wife and a husband here, and our children. Okay. As far as confidence is, and I agree with Shan. A lot of that comes from knowing who you are, and that comes from experience. Being comfortable in your own skin. Being able to wear your losses. We hear in the manosphere about failing in public and being cool with that, knowing that you took the shot when other people wouldn't. The biggest character I think you need to look for, ladies, when it comes to finding a husband is character. Character above all else. That character is one of the things that my fiance told me is when we started dating, is that she loved the way that I treated other people. It could be somebody I meet on the street, somebody serving us in the restaurant, having high character and treating people fairly. So that's what I got for you.
I definitely appreciate that answer, man. These some great answers already. I'm looking forward. Trill.
Oh man,
Let's put together some qualities that describe a man that exhibits leadership, shows confidence, and would be the ideal husband.
I would say first and foremost a plan, just vision. I think that's what women, are more willing to follow. Like a lot of dudes, may have a lot of money or may, have some status or whatever, but they don't really have a vision. They don't really have a long-term view as to like how this family is going to run, like what our legacy is going to be as a family. So I think if you're able to showcase that, then you're good to go. Another one I would say is discipline to actually execute it. A lot of people have things that they want to do, ideas, and I aspire to do this, but they don't have the discipline to stick to what it takes to get there. So I think that one, and I would say probably the last one would just be cold. Just like as a man, like cold, I think is very, very important. Like it's a lot of people that'll sell their soul for money. Or it's a lot of people that'll sell their soul to be famous or for attention or whatever the case may be. I think, if a man is, able to stand firm on his code and get all of those things anyway, then that raises your stock tenfold. You know what I'm saying? So those are three things that I think would be probably imperative to, a good, upstanding dude.
Okay. Rella. Some qualities that describe a man that exhibits leadership, shows confidence, and would be the ideal husband.
Yeah, I mean, man, the brothers is shooting 3 for 3, man. They doing Steph Curry J's tonight. Nah, just about. I mean, you ran off 6 off top. You emptied the clip. So I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna empty the clip. I think for me, and I agree with everything the brothers are saying, man. This is really, food for thought. I need to grab my notepad because I feel it's gonna be that type of night tonight. One thing I would add is integrity, right? And I know Wapo talked about character. When I think about integrity, and this is something that I taught my sons when they were very young, since they could speak, integrity is doing what's right because it's right, and then you do it right, even when nobody is looking. And I think this is important when you talk about the characteristics and qualities of a man becoming a husband, because like Shan talked about, men over 40 don't complain. Well, I believe that men over 40 also shouldn't take shortcuts to get to the goal and the finish line. I think you have to put the work in. I think you have to endure. I think you have to play a fair game and shoot your best shot and give it your best effort. And when you lay your head down at night, you want to be able to sleep comfortably. And your family needs to trust that, you're living a life, not necessarily of morality, but just one of the highest integrity and character. Right. So that's what I would add on. I mean, the brothers then already took and I want to leave some space for kosher too.
I hear that. Kosher, brother.
I think they emptied the clip, man, but I'm gonna put some fire for your mind. So battle testing. When a man is over 40, he's battle tested. He's been through the arduous task of manhood, because manhood is a series of hills and valleys, victories and failures. So he should be battle tested if he's over 40. He should be unapologetically masculine, meaning he stands on his convictions. He's unwavering in his convictions. He says what he means, and he means what he says. He doesn't back down for no one. He's respectful in his pursuits of righteousness and also masculinity, but he's not apologetic for what he believes in. I say he's a visionary. He has a very keen vision. His outlook is very keen. He's very perfunctory in the things that he's do. He's not laissez-faire. He's very determined. You know, he's very measured in all his responses, but also he's very intentional. I think the next thing would be manifesting generosity. You know, all the brothers on this panel, for the most part, except Trill, he's younger. We're in a stage called generosity versus stagnation. That's a clinical stage of psychosocial development when a man is mostly, he's either being on his mission and on his purpose, or he's being stagnated because he doesn't understand what his purpose and his mission is. So he should be manifesting generosity. The next one is his word is his bond. He says what he means what he says. He doesn't capitulate to the whims of others, but he stands firm in his convictions. He's a man's man. You know, that takes season and grace. And then he's very spiritual. He strives to master the art of spirituality. He's not a perfect man, but he's willing to do the introspection and many times the shallow work to get the outcomes that are needed to become the best version of himself.
Like that. You guys named some awesome qualities that would describe the ideal husband. I wanted to ask you guys, does he have to have all of these qualities, or does he just need most of them?
I think you know, I think he should have a good bulk of them, right? Like when we talk about character, when we talk about being intentional, when you talk about being a visionary as a husband, if you don't know where you're going, who are you leading? Where are you taking them to, right? And I think you know, all of us don't have all of the answers. All of it, you know, a lot of us, I mean, I'll say for self, you know, a lot of stuff I had figured out on the fly, right? Like I didn't grow up with my pops. So I had to invest in self and research. And so if I thought that I had to have all of those qualities before I consider myself ready for marriage, I mean, yeah, ideally. Gerald, you speaking?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, you know, shoot, probably be a 40-year-old virgin waiting for all those qualities, right? But, you know, putting the work in, the dedication, getting better and better, challenge yourself. I like what Coach said about being introspective. I think that's a lot of things brothers don't really look at, to take that time to sit and really deal with self and ask those hard questions of self, right? Being introspective at the end of the day. Where did I miss it? Where did I make it? Where can I get better? You know what I'm saying? What am I put on that to-do list tomorrow that I got to knock down? Right. So I don't think that the man has to have all of those qualities, but I think you should have a pretty good sound foundation with those.
Okay. Any other gentlemen want to chime in on that? Does he have to have all of those qualities? This ideal husband that you gentlemen just described, or does he have to just only have some of them?
No, you got to have all of them. From my perspective, I don't. I understand where Real is coming from, and Real is giving space to the people that's trying. But I like to operate a little bit higher than that. There's no mediocrity. We don't settle for mediocrity over here. And so, you know, everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants a Lamborghini. Everybody wants a big house. Everybody wants a fine wife. But then they only want to do half the work to get there. So, you know, do you want to be an okay NBA player? Do you want to be an okay NFL player? Do you want to be an okay worker? Do you want to be okay in sex? Fellas, do you want to be okay in bed? You know, do you want your bank account to look okay? Then you can't be okay. You can't say, well, look, man, I got 3 of them. The other 3, I just can't get, man. So, I mean, I'll keep trying, but it's all good. No, they all have to be, you have to achieve all of these things that all of us said, that everybody said, if you want to be the ideal, because the question is ideal. Do you want to be a mediocre? Do you want to be a mediocre husband? Do you want to be a mediocre man? Then okay. But if you want to be ideal, if you want to be cream of the crop, top shelf, best, you got to have all of it, period. And it's not too much to ask for, in my personal opinion. It's not too much to ask for if you care about yourself and you care about those that's around you. If you have children, you care about your kids. You have a wife, you care about her. So in my opinion, you have to have all of it. There's no days off, as we say, when you're working out and getting in shape. You can't say I'm working on my upper body, but I'm gonna ignore my legs and then consider yourself a full physique bodybuilder. You got to work on your legs too. So that's just me.
Okay, I like that, Shan. Dropping that heat. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
I mean, it's an interesting thing because the answers everybody gave kind of meshed together anyway. So they're all very, very similar. That's why I would say, I actually agree with both of them. I mean, you can have most of them. There may be like one outlier that somebody said I can't really think off the top of my head, but everybody's answers was very similar. And basically, what it is just discipline, vision, and just being intentional. I think as a grown man, whether you're in a relationship or not, that should be characters that you walk around with anyway. If you want to achieve anything, now if you want to be mediocre, or you want to just whatever, then you can be lackadaisical in those areas, and you may actually meet a chick who don't really care about it, or may have patience enough to work with you until you get it. But me personally, I feel like just as a man, you should be walking around with most of what we said anyway. Just relationship aside.
Okay. I like those answers. As I stated before, tonight's broadcast is about a woman's role, but I just wanted to kind of get an idea of what type of men we're going to be talking about as the foundation of discussion. So we're talking about men that have these great qualities that these gentlemen just described. And we're going to now talk about a woman's role. Last night, we had an excellent live with Kay and Kayla where we discussed briefly, a conversation came up about a woman's role. And I was just shocked with some of the things that I was hearing. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to break this down to get an understanding. So I'm going to walk you guys down how this is going to go. We're going to talk about a woman's role when it comes to dating. We're going to get you guys expectations. We're going to talk about her role after having sex before marriage and you guys expectations after sex. And then we're going to end it off by talking about a woman's role as a wife and your expectations for her as being your wife. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Appreciate the super chats that came in. Membership is open. Make sure you guys click the join button on the home page and become a member. Great things are going to be happening that we're going to be doing for the members only. You understand how it is. So let's have this conversation. A woman's role. A woman's role. A woman's role while dating. And I also want to get your expectations. I'm going to start with you, Trill. A woman's role while dating. Break that down for me.
A woman's role while dating, I think for one, she should be analytical, paying close attention to detail. I think a lot of women don't really do that because relationships are so biased toward women, especially in the dating stage. Like the man has to approach you, the man has to get your number, the man has to plan the dates, the man has to pay for the dates, the man has to be romantic. It's the man. And a lot of women show up to relationships show up to the dating stage with a mindset like, hey, I'm here. That's enough. Now, wow me. It's that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But I think, when you run into a woman that actually pays attention to detail and like pays attention to what her man likes and what her man values, then I think the rest becomes easy, right? Because at the end of the day, like you want to stand out. Typically, if you are approaching or dealing with a man that's quote unquote high value, he's handsome, he has his own money, he has his own whatever, he typically has a lot of women who are interested in him as well, right? So you are competing. Whether you want to admit to it or not, that's the reality of the situation. You are competing with multiple women. So you got to think of it like, okay, how do I stand out? And immediately you can stand out by paying attention to details, like paying attention to, things about me that you don't directly benefit from. What's my favorite book? Like what's my sports team? What do I like? Like what, just small things. And I think, if you are able to, interweave those into the conversation and be interesting and be fun. I think that's another thing women just forget to bring to the dating situation. Like they look good and, the sex is good, but, you talking to her is like watching paint dry on the wall, just not interesting at all. So again, just to sum it up, I think if you are paying attention to detail in regards to that man, everything else comes easy. But, just provide that man peace and, just be solid, man, and you're going to be all right.
Okay. Kosher. Coming to you, brother. A woman's role while dating and your expectations for her while dating. You on mute, just so you know, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
You guys hear me?
I'm gonna come back to you. I got that piercing noise. I'm gonna come back to you.
Okay.
All right. All right. I'm gonna go to you, Wapo. Woman's role while dating and your expectations for her while dating.
I'm so glad you sent the questions ahead of time because I really put some thought into this. That is, ladies, imagine all of the work that you do to get to the point to be able to put forward and together a resume to obtain a job that you actually really want, that's going to be your career, that you would want to retire from. And now you're given the arena to perform in. And that is the dating phase, up into and through sex. Okay. So your job while dating is to show how you will be an asset to the company. Because here's the bottom line. We're talking about coming together for marriages, right? So you have to have put in the work. A lot of you go to 4 years of college, a couple extra years to get a master's degree. This is all the same stuff that you would do growing up, learning your domestication skills, your elocution, your posture, knowing how to eat properly in a fine dining restaurant. All of those things. Are you a gracious hostess? This is your opportunity to get out here and actually show this man, hey, this is what I have to offer. I know there's this big stink about bringing something to the table, but you don't have that attitude anywhere else in life. So I really think through this whole thing, you can view it like trying to get that once in a lifetime job opportunity that you get to retire from. So your job is to go in there and not only, be engaging in the conversations, not just answer questions, and then be engaged to the point that you can ask succinct questions yourself to the man that's, whether you like it or not, vetting you. So.
Okay. I like that. Shan, come to you, brother. A woman's role while dating and your expectations for her while dating.
Role. I'm a wordsmith. Role in dating. The role in dating. It makes you think about the definition of dating. A lot of people have a different definition. Some people believe dating is that's where we go together. Back in my day, we called it going. Y'all go together. Some people today think dating is where you just get to know somebody. It's nothing exclusive, and you're not going together. There's multi-dating, solo dating. Some people think that they're out there multi-dating and just feeling and getting to know people. Some people feel that they're solo dating and they're exclusive to that person. Depending on your definition, it's going to change. But here's my opinion. If you are in the position where you are solo dating and you are with somebody, let's consider dating where you are exclusive with somebody. You're only having sex with that one person. You're not out there flirting with other people or giving opportunity for somebody else to slide in. You guys are exclusive. Then in my opinion, the role, as you asked, JR, should be almost indistinguishable from a marriage. I know it may not be a popular opinion. I know a lot of people say, no, don't give away all the cookies. Don't give, make them buy the cow before you give them the milk. I disagree. I believe that if you're dating and you're dating with a purpose, especially if you want an outcome of marriage, that conversation should have happened early, right? So you guys are on the same sheet of music for that. And the things that a woman is doing in that dating phase, that relationship, her role should be indistinguishable from a wife. Because that is what men are going to use as the test. That's the threshold that we're going to decide to make you a wife. At that point, we just want to make it legal. If you think that you're going to hold back some things during the dating phase and reveal them in marriage, you got another thing coming. That's almost like saying when you're practicing for a show, I'm not going to go hard for the show. I mean, for practice, I'm gonna just practice a little bit. But when the curtains open up and we on stage, I'm gonna go hard then. No, you're gonna be lackadaisical on during the show too. You go hard in practice so you can make sure that you have a perfect performance. So you go hard in the dating phase, ladies, so you can make sure that so he understands what he's getting into and what he's marrying. So it should look the same, in my personal opinion. I know a lot of women may not feel that way. I know a lot of women have been taught not to do that. But if you want somebody to love you for who you are and get used to the things that you are going to be doing for the rest of your life, do it now. Do it now. Don't hold nothing back. Your role should look just like a wife during the dating phase. And once a man is convinced and has been sold on your performance as a girlfriend, you'll get the ring.
I like that, Shannon, man. You be bringing that heat, man. He cooking over there. I'm gonna go to you, really, but let me just check on Coach's mic real quick. You want to do a test real quick, Coach?
Testing.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna come to you next, really.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I was sitting there listening to Shannon. I was like, wait, what? And then I thought about it from my perspective and what I do at work, right? I tell people that want to move up and want to be leaders all the time, I have to already be seeing those qualities in you. You don't just get keys to the building, access to alarms and safe codes and all that, and then all of a sudden it turns on, like leadership turns on. You're already the people that I promote in my building, they're already exhibiting those qualities. So to a large degree, like I agree with what you're saying, Shan. There's a passage, and we use this all the time, that says, "He that finds a wife finds a good thing," right? And the supposition is that she's a wife when he meets her, right? She's not the girlfriend when he meets her. She's already the wife. She's already, skilled in those wifely duties and already performing in that function. So I think the role for a woman during dating is that she should, if the intent is to be married, then she should be showing up as a wife. And the expectation, I think the expectations that men have of women are very, very simple. And there's a lot of conversation and pushback. And I'm not always clear on why that is, because I think men, like, what we expect is very, very, very simple. And one of the key things that I think most of us would agree is an expectation is just peace when we come home. Peace when I'm spending time with you. All that contention, that back and forth, that bickering, that arguing, every time I present this pushback on this. No, you should be an asset helping to accomplish the vision. And then I get it, sometimes people, it's just, especially if you're in the dating phase, it just doesn't work. It happens. We can separate amicably and keep it moving. But I don't think those expectations for men change over time. Like, if you listen to a lot of us talk, we're all saying the same thing. I mean, I know fit, feminine, friendly, and, I think, Shan, you got 5 F's, I think, that you have on yours. But I know those are hot buzzwords right now. But above all that, man, our expectation is peace.
I like that, man. That piece is very important. I hope y'all women in the audience taking notes, and I hope the gentlemen's taking notes as well, because this is valuable information, man. It's the game right here. Kosha, a woman's role while dating and your expectations for her while dating.
Well, listen, the Proverbs 31 woman was a woman that sought to please her husband and do those things that were essential to making him become the better version of himself. I would say, she should be on her game, meaning she's learning everything she can learn about that man to finesse him, not in a manipulative way, but in a good way to get the outcomes that are going to benefit him and her. Iguapo talks about a feminine amplifier. I call it similar, a feminine oscillator, a woman that's constantly in circulation mentally and cerebrally, more or less using the process of metacognitions. She's constantly thinking about her man, ways to become a better woman, ways to help him become the best version of himself as a man. She's intentional about everything. She's willing to cut off others that are more or less detractors from her mission as a future wife. The second thing would be working effortlessly to learn him. She may think she knows everything about him, but she's reading books, she's studying, she's asking him questions. She's being very intentional to, once again, to become the best version of herself so that she can help him become the best version of herself, because I succinctly believe that men and women have been optimized to be synchronized. When men and women are operating together in the synchronicity, they're the best versions of themselves. I would say constantly manifesting feminine virtue. And some of the things I'm saying might be, interrelated, but she's constantly manifesting feminine virtue. She's taking the proper classes. She's been around women that are positive. She's not a negative Nancy. She's in the fellowship of godly women that are, trying to help her learn to understand her man. She's self-introspecting. She's kind. She's patient. She considered his needs first. And I would say a woman that is in touch with her feelings. The essence of a woman being the best version of herself is a woman that is in touch with her feelings. When a woman can, how can I say it, consistently harness discipline in managing her emotions for the sake of trying to meet the mission of her man, then that's a powerful woman, because that's true love for a man when a woman is in tune with her emotions and she can harness those emotions in a manner that's not going to be a negative or a detriment to that man. And then, utilizing her soft skills as a woman, she's trying to calibrate her soft skills, and she's apt with doing it all the time. She's calibrating her soft skills and she's listening to him and she's watching him. So I would say, those things are important in the dating relationship, and limiting also her time on social media up to the point that she's willing to cut it off, because social media can be a detractor for a lot of women, and they can give them falsehoods that can be a detriment to the relationship.
Hey, Kosha.
Yes, sir.
You said optimized to be synchronized.
Mm-hmm.
Break that down for some people in the audience. That was a bomb, and I didn't want that to go over anybody's head.
Well, when a woman is more in touch with her synchronicity, right? She's optimized, meaning she has the elements that are necessary to be in synchronicity with the man. The feminine, the masculine, the complementary. They're complementary. When I was on a Guapo show, I said that the masculine is doing and the feminine is being. So she's optimized to be synchronized when she's more or less self-aware and she's self-reflecting. But many women have not reached that optimization, or the men have not, because, power have never conceded to anything without a struggle. It never have and it never will. But when men demand that their women get in line, then women fall in line to that masculine energy that man is exuding. Therefore, she becomes a better version of herself. So men and women are optimized to be synchronized even from the base level as it relates to sexuality. The penis enters the vagina. And so it's like it's in synchronicity. It's an interlock. No different than when a man and woman get a ring, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. When a man leaves his family, he cleaves unto his wife and they become one. So they're optimized to be synchronized, but they must be culturally sensitive, culturally competent, and willing to do the introspection to become the better versions of themselves.
I'm a student tonight, man. This is awesome right here. You guys got some unique perspectives. I love it. I love it, man. I love it. If you are listening out there and you are a woman, you have to understand that we describe the men we're talking about. So this may not be for every man. So I don't want to hear anybody say you can't do that for the Pookies and the Ray Rays, but a man of quality, a man that has substance, you coming into his world, you got to try to fit in. You the puzzle piece, you the missing puzzle piece. So you have to be able to see if you can fit. Let's kind of sum it up. We just getting started, man. We got 2 more points to break down. Make sure you got to get them likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. But before we do, shout out to the sponsor of the channel, Teej Hanley. It's too early. I can't believe it's time to get up already, but that's okay. A man's morning routine is everything. The first thing I do is I head to the washroom. My focus, brushing my teeth, my beard, and my skin. Teej Hanley, uncomplicated skincare for men, has changed my life. The face wash, the scrub, the super serum, the eye cream, the AM PM moisturizer has people giving me compliments left and right about my skin. At the beginning of each week, twice a week, I massage the scrub into my face and then I rinse. Every other day, I use the face wash. I put it into the palm of my hands and I spread it evenly across my entire face and my head. The Teej face wash keeps the pores clean and also removes all oil. My favorite part about Teej Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. And because Teej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Teej Hanley for the best possible price, but they also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. Shout out to that Teej Hanley. I do have the link pinned to the top, so make sure you guys click that link and check them out, man. Skincare for men. It's time to get right, y'all. Men bringing sexy back. Let's move on to our next topic. I see you over there laughing, Trill. That shit was funny. So we have women out there that are dating. And then we have women that are having sex while dating. Does her role change after having sex? And what are your expectations after having sex? Let's break that down. Does her role change after sex? And what are your expectations after sex? Start with you, Wapo.
All right, let's do it. First things first, JR, you killed that commercial, dog. I love it. You killed that. So let's talk about the sex thing, right? With wives. There's a huge misconception out here, and I'm speaking from experience. I've been married twice. I don't think they would mind me sharing it, but both of my first wives, we were intimate within the first 3 times of seeing each other, and they got rings. Okay, so I'm not telling you to go out there and smut it up, but what I am telling you is that once you have sex with a man, this is where it gets serious. This is now you've been through your interview, and a lot of women don't realize this. You're going through a background check. I am checking your pedigree vigorously. I'm putting your name out here in these streets. I'm trying to find out where you've been, what you've been doing, and not necessarily to judge you, but to see if you continue with that behavior. Because if you want to be a wife, your role, once you have sex with me and you want me to seriously consider you for a marriage, is to only be having sex with me. If I find out that you're out here, right, and you are continuing to deal with other men intimately, you're automatically disqualified for consideration. You are not inclined to be my wife. So that's a huge deal. I would say that now you want to make sure that you are cleaning up yourself and best positioning yourself to be in the position to get the job that you actually want. Okay. So, hey, you like this guy, you shared your body with him, you're pot committed, we would call it in poker. All right. Now's the time. Hey, let's go ahead and clean up that social media. I had a conversation 2 weeks ago with a good, so I know we don't have female friends, but there's not an attraction there. And she served as my, my live-in nanny for some months when I had my daughters by myself. And she is cleaning up her social media life. She's found a guy that she really believes is going to be the one. And she told me, she was like, El Wapo, I got to clean this stuff up. You know, I'm taking the month, I'm purging of all of this. I'm cutting people off. I'm putting myself in the best position for this man to be able to make me his wife. That's the right mentality. You got to change the way that you think. You have to have a shifting of the mind. Once you have sex with that man, you need to shut everything else down for real. Because the second he finds out that you're out there, you know, sharing what he wants to possibly make sacred through vows with anybody else, it's a wrap. So there you go. Y'all laughing at me?
Nah, man, he was laughing at this.
Oh, thank you, pretty.
All right, Rilla, I'm coming to you, man. That was hilarious. Perfect timing. Does a woman's role change after having sex before marriage, and what are your expectations after having sex with her?
Yeah, man, that Wapo set it off. I think it's funny because the way that we look, like to me, like sex, intimacy, like that's one of the highest forms of commitment. And I know Kosha talked earlier about being complimentary one to another, right? So most men, to El Wapo's point, is, you know, they want what's theirs to be theirs and theirs alone. And I think subconsciously, subliminally, I don't know that the woman's role changes after sex, but we do, depending on well, let me say this. If the relationship is exclusive, after sex, we do tend to put more of a premium on that woman. Well, let me speak for me. I do. If it's a committed relationship, you put more of a premium on that woman. So that expectation is for her to commit it and move, you know, as if she, I hate to say it this way, but like she's yours, right? Especially if we're moving towards, and the intention is marriage. Everything should be leading to marriage. That should be the forefront. That's the foundation. We're building legacy. We're building family. This is where we're headed. So I don't know that it's necessarily that her role changes, but you know, we do put a premium. We do kind of look at you different after that. Now, if you out here, hot girl summer, thotting and bopping, you know what I'm saying, giving a cookie up to you know, Tom, Dick, and Hank, and you know, you just out here living your best life, then you know, on that to Wapo's point, I agree, man. Like, nah, you're not a candidate, you're a fun thing. And I think a lot of women miss that. The difference between what men will play with and what he'll commit to. There's a huge difference between what we'll commit to and what we'll play with.
All right. Shan, coming to you next, brother. Does a woman's role change after having sex before marriage? And what are your expectations after having sex with her? Hold on, I'm gonna ask you guys this because this came up last night. After you have sex with a woman, right? She's giving you a lot. Would you guys agree? She done gave up a lot, right? So in the event that you say, hey, I want you to do my laundry, I want you to clean up this area right there, should she do it? Should she
That's
do
a,
it?
She
that's
live
a
there?
good question. Yeah.
In whose house? Your house? And she don't live there?
Yeah, up in my house.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. She don't need to be. She don't live at your house, and you asking her to do your laundry because you gave her some dick.
I'm not saying it like that, but what
That's
I'm saying is that
I just said it in
okay.
reverse.
Let me say this. So women often, not all women, but some women would say, I'm not going to do certain things because that's what a wife does, right? But she turns around and she has sex with you. She takes that out of the equation. So hypothetically, you say, hey, I want you to wash my clothes. What's the problem?
Problem is that she don't benefit from it. She benefit from the sex. She don't benefit doing things for you that she doesn't have pleasure in. I think that's what it is. It's a real selfish mindset. So I mean, if we looking for logic, we're gonna be here all night because that don't make no sense. Because how women say they prioritize sex or like the significance that they say it has, that would imply that okay, if I can have sex with you, you can have anything from me. That would imply that. But that's not reality. And we know it's not reality, and we're not gonna sit here and act like it is.
Okay, I'm just curious. Anybody else want to chime in? Go ahead.
Yeah, I got something for you. So I was talking about mindset. If she wants to be a wife, you shouldn't even have to ask her. She should offer.
Mm-hmm.
That's how mine got her ring. I didn't have to ask.
It's kind of interesting. Anybody else? Kosha? Shan?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Shan. Go ahead, brother.
No, go ahead, Kosha. You got it. I just wanted to say I agree with Guapo. See, so even originally what I was saying that it should be indistinguishable between being a girlfriend and a wife. That's true. Guapo spoke to that, right? But the way you laid it out is almost like, well, I gave you this sex, so I need a sandwich. now.
No,
You know, I gave you.
yeah.
I know.
I can see,
And I'm poking at.
I can see where
I'm
you're
poking
coming
at you
from.
a little bit, but I want to. I want to. You know, and I don't even like when people use extremes to get a point across. But I'm using an extreme in this situation because sex is the actual bullet point. And the sex is the bullet. It's not just because she's at the house and you guys get to know each other and then she sees that there's a need. See, I like a woman that sees the need and takes it on. Says, oh wow, he's busy. And I'm not gonna watch Netflix. I'm gonna go ahead and knock this out for him. I'm gonna fold these clothes. It's a big old pile of clothes fresh out the dryer. I can fold them while I'm watching TV because he's busy outside fixing the car or something like that. That's what Guapo's speaking to. But if it's as a result of the sex, then I'm thinking like, nah, that's too much, man.
Now,
That's extremely selfish.
Okay, I'm gonna give a little more context with it. So I'm speaking to the woman that says that she's not gonna do anything. You know, she feels that she doesn't have to do that because it's not her house. But it's like you had sex with him. You know, what was that? You know, like you're not true enough, you're not his wife, but you had sex with him. Oh well, again, like Trail said, and that was the response. You know, that was for me. You know, that's what I wanted. But then we talked about expectations. Like, what do you expect when dating? Like, what do you expect? You know, you shouldn't have to say it. It's not like you asking her saying, okay, I gave you sex, then you have to do this. But we do have our expectations in our head. Like, it blows our mind when we see, you may wake up and smell some breakfast or something like that, right? Like, damn, okay. Or, you know, like if you got a dog, I walked the dog already, or I'm just being extreme here, but you get the picture.
No, I get you. Yeah. I'm just saying, I think they're mutually exclusive and they stand alone on their own. And so when we tie them together, it seems kind of tit for tatty. Mm-hmm. It seems a little selfish when they're tied together. When they stand on their own, then I'm 100% with Guapo. I'm 100% with you. It's like, yeah, you know, shit, you know, I'm hungry. You know, I worked all night last night. You know, I put in some work when we had sex and you got up early and all of a sudden I'm smelling those cheesy eggs and grits. Oh shit. Then yeah. Okay. That's what's up. You know, I'm gonna be hungry and you're in tune to my needs and you took care of that. Then that's cool. But are you doing that as a result of when they tie them together? That's where I'm with Trill. It's like, I see where Trill's coming from. It's like, well, come on, we're not gonna put that together. But I think Kosher was about to land the plane. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Kosher. Rilla, I think you wanted to say something briefly, right?
Yeah, I was just asking for
hold on, we'll go to Kosher first, and then okay, I'll give it to you. We'll go to Kosher, and then Sham, we're gonna piggyback back to you for this question.
So I think it's predicated on the dynamics of the relationship. You know, I'm old school. You know, I'm class of '90s, so you know, I'm gonna throw back from the past. If it's a relationship that's more or less predicated on just, you know, a casual hookup, then I don't expect anything. But if it's a relationship that's expected to go somewhere, then I do expect her to, you know, have some of the accoutrements that I expect. Like, you know, I might ask her to fold my clothes. I might ask her to cook me a meal because trust and believe, guys, she's going to ask you to change that tire if it becomes flat. She's going to ask you to put the gas in the car when you go to the gas station. She's still going to be asking you without hesitation, right? She's still going to be asking you to do to some of the traditional norms that, quote unquote, a man do. You know, we always encapsulate what a man should do. But when it comes down to what our women should do, then, you know, I'm not doing that. You know, men are expected to be traditional, provide, protect, give provision, and put their life on the line. But sometimes, not all of our women, some of our women do it when it's convenient. You know, look at Guapo. He got a beautiful wife to be. She's a traditional woman that has been conditioned to serve her man. She's wife ready. So I'll say to the women, I give a challenge to those women that want to be good wives at some point. It depends on your worldview. You know, if you are in the pursuits of getting a good man, start doing some of those things that a man would like to make him want you even more, because men get energy from women that serve them. The moon reflects the sun. You know, so if she's constantly reflecting his mission and his program, it invigorates that man to shine even brighter, to turn around and reciprocate that relationship so that he can benefit and so that she can benefit. As I tell women, because men and women are optimized to be synchronized, when she gives to him, he gives back to her. Men by nature are doers. We love to do. That's why men can get simped out from doing so much, because we've been conditioned. We're hardwired to do. The sperm attests to the mission of a man. It's constant in motion. Masculinity is doing. So I would say to a woman that wants to have a good man, be ready to do if you're in a relationship that's not this casual, but is leading up to sex. And then also, you know, if I was in the game again, once I put my bait out, I'm gonna let a woman know what my intentions are. If she's dating multiple men, I said, "This, I like you." You know, I'm like, "What's the guy name? I see you and I want you." What's that guy name? The
Fleece
Booty
Johnson.
Warrior. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see you and I
Fleece
want
Johnson.
you. Yeah, I see you and I want you. But you know, if she's entertaining multiple men, I cut it off because I'm not going to deify I'm not going to minimize my essence as a man to appease a woman. I'm gonna put my bait out. I'm gonna put my beard out. Look, I like you. I see you. I want you. But I would never capitulate, because when you capitulate, you're deferring power instead of getting power. Women only respect power and strength. That's all they respect. Anything else is anathema. So that's my take on that.
You better
Can
get
I
your
ask a
notepad,
question real
Shan.
fast? Just to
Well, you
follow
gotta
up.
spell that. Anathema. Anathema.
Yo, Coach Clinician dropped accoutrements. Well done, sir. But fellas, and JR, I didn't catch the conversation that you had yesterday, but I'm imagining you got some pushback, right? You know, from the ladies when they were talking about, hey, if he asked me to wash the clothes or the dishes, it might be some pushback. Is that what you got from the ladies?
Well, it wasn't me. It was Kay and Kayla was having the conversation, and some calls, I think Anton popped on for a second. And they were just breaking down the dynamics of, you know, how things were, you know, like his wife, like, so to paint the picture, she worked, he worked. So she felt as though when she came home, she wasn't obligated to have to do certain things because she worked too. It should be still 50-50 once she gets to the house. Now, granted, they're not married, she's not a wife, but they had sex. So given that they have sex and you guys spend time, what difference does it make that you work? You still, when you get to the house, if you looking to be a wife, then you need to understand how to hold down the house. And it doesn't really matter if I'm sitting there, if I'm just thinking, come in the house and hold down the house. So that was the context of it. She was giving pushback because she said that she's not about to do that. I work just as much as you work. So why should I have to come home and have to do these things? You can help.
Think about this, because this is when we have these conversations. I love to hear what everybody has to say, but I also love what's not being said. So in hearing you break that down, JR, right? What does that say about how a woman values her sex? She would rather share her body, which, my humble opinion, everything that is sacred within intimacy lies within the woman. The womb is shaped like a chalice. Men have a phallus, right? So she holds life. Everything that's sacred in intimacy is comes from a woman, right? So she's more willing to share that than she is any form of domestication. It makes me think even further. You brought up something kosher. You talked about Fleece Johnson. It made me think about the Boondocks. Y'all seen the Boondocks episode where Riley's on the basketball team and he's got mad handles but has no jumper, right? And he goes and he can never score. He can never score, but he looks real good. We call it meretricious. There's a word for you, kosher. I know you know what that means. Somebody that looks good on the outside but has very little value. Women that lead with the vagina and that's all that they have to exchange normally are the ones that don't have any jumper. And guess what? You'll never win the game until you develop the ability to score. It's just kind of what was unsaid. You know, that's what I'm hearing.
I like that. Shannon, come back to you for the topic. Does a woman's role change after having sex before marriage? And your expectations after having sex with her?
Yes, keep it up. Keep it up, ladies. Does my expectations change after we have sex? Absolutely. Don't use it as a weapon ever. Stop using sex as a weapon. I know a lot of women believe that sex is their commodity, right? That's the golden key for them. And you know, again, we talked about, like, I had a show this morning called Happy Wife, Happy Life, and how I believe that phrase is backwards, right? And then there was two women that did a study, two professors at Rutgers University did a study 7 years ago in 2014. And they had mentioned that when women are unhappy, and predominantly women are unhappy in marriages, that they tend to be more vocal about it, and that they tend to be less loving and supporting. That's their way of saying that women, they shut down the sex department for their husbands. It's so many, and I know we're talking about before the marriage, but still, so many women will get into a relationship fresh and budding and everything is great, and then they start having sex. So this is for the people that's actually having sex in a relationship. It's great in the beginning, and then later on, once you get comfortable, all of a sudden that whole department shuts down. He don't. He catches wood every morning. He's ready to go all the time. But then suddenly women, the sex factory starts slowing down. He's lucky, and to get into a marriage, he's lucky to get it twice if he gets it twice a month. And women are doing that, not necessarily because they're not interested in sex anymore. I mean, they're still the same women that was having sex 5 days a week when they were dating, but they use it as a weapon. Stop using sex as a weapon. My expectation after we start having sex is for you to maintain it, whether you mad at me or not. If you're not in the mood, get in the mood. I'm doing the same things I got you in the mood to be with before. All of a sudden, we're not doing it anymore. So my expectations is that you maintain that same libido drive that you had when we first met. Don't change. My expectations is for you to be consistent in the sex department. That's the only change I expect to happen.
All right, there. Trill, coming to you. Does a woman's role change after having sex, and your expectations? You're on mute, just so you know.
Now, I say this is a funny question because we've been approaching the question like, like sex happens in order. I'm dating you for months, couple weeks, months. We working towards something serious. Then we have the sex. Then it don't work like that. It don't work like that. So in my opinion, I don't think my expectations doesn't change after sex at all, because I expect to get the sex relatively early, right? So this is before we actually become a serious item. So if we talking, I give it, on average about 2 weeks, something like that, and we're not in a serious relationship in 2 weeks. Right. So I don't expect my expectations of you does not change. The only thing I ask is that you don't become entitled. Because to most men, if we're going to be honest, unless we really care about you, sex is nothing but exercise with an amazing ending. If we don't care about you, that's what it is. So for you to attach entitlement to it, and hey, we've reached a new level in this, we haven't. Because at the end of the day, the stock of sex is low in this area, especially if you are a high value man, like we speak about all the time. You have a lot of options, and the thing about it is, if I look at it a lot like, real estate or buying cars or whatever. Scarcity, raises the stock. But when I can go on my phone and scroll with my eyes closed and pick a woman randomly from my social media and have sex with her within a couple of days, the stock drops. So in reality, I think women are not judged by how fast they give the sex up. I think they're judged by how they move afterwards. And a lot of times false entitlement comes afterwards. Attitude, insecurity comes afterwards. Different things like that is what pushes us away. But as far as my expectations of you, they don't change. My expectations of you have been consistent from the first time I talked to you until we become a serious item. Then that's when I say, hey, cut everything else you're doing off. Now we're gonna move towards something a little more serious. But until I say that, it would be unfair of me to say, hey, I don't want you with no one else. Do I selfishly want that? Sure. But for me to demand it when I'm not giving you, like, you're not the only one I'm having sex with if we're not serious. So all I would ask is just be safe. I don't want to hear about it. But when I come to you and say, this is serious now, cut off everything else you got going, I expect that to be done. That's my take on it.
Trail, man. That perspective right there, it was different from everybody. That's why I like bringing the guys together, man, because you never know what you're gonna hear, man. That was spot on right there. You gotta be thinking differently now. That's fucked up. Maybe not. But you made a good solid point, man. Coach, I know you spoke already. Did you want to add on to something? I kind of took it that you spoke on it already when you had the opportunity, but did you want to add anything else?
Well, everybody is different based on how they perceive sex. Like I said, I'm more old school. And so ideally, because I am old school, I'm a classic throwback romantic. Um, I don't know, man. I'm old school. I want a woman to exude virtue, and it doesn't mean that she's a bad person if she give it up within 2 weeks. But I want her to show some discipline, because in my mind, if I'm gonna take her, to be my wife in the future, if you're giving up that soon, how many other guys have you gave up to that soon? So, if I'm gonna take her serious, I'm not saying she got to be the Virgin Mary, she got to be the Mother Teresa, but because I'm old school, I'm very traditional and I'm very romantic. I believe in courtship. So giving it up very fast, I mean, it's not necessarily a deal breaker, but I want to get to know a woman's mind. And Trill said something that's very profound. When we were growing up in high school back in the 90s, sex was like $9.99 on the pound. It was like some steak. It was filet mignon. But now, damn it, it's guacamole bologna. It's 99 cents on the pound. So it's not as valuable anymore. And so, I don't know if I'm living in the twilight zone to expect a woman to be traditional and old school, but I'm more old school, man. I like a woman to show a level of demure. She's taking things slow, and I know it sounds hypocritical, but because I am a very masculine, dominant man, ideally I should be. If I take her serious, it will be hypocritical for me to say I'm having sex with another woman and I want you to stop with other men, but I think men see it a little differently. It depends on your worldview. It depends on your age. But ideally, men should be cutting it off. But I don't think sex affects men to the same level that it affects a woman. And so, I would hope that she said, you know what, I want you to be my man. And eventually she's going to cut it off. And I tell you, I'm going to come around at some point. But I know I sound like a hypocrite, but I can't have
you right. You the kosher Rod Serling. I'm gonna give you Rod Sterling.
Yeah, but
Twilight Zone. You still in the Twilight Zone, bro.
Right. No, I'm being honest. I'm being honest. I'm old school, man. And so yeah. So that's how my brain works. But yeah, I'm old school. So because there are benefits that comes along with being old school. I'm very romantic. Poems. Sideshow stylistics. Good music, treat her good. So, yeah. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
I think JR having some issues with his camera, but Kosher, while JR is getting that together, just real quick, because a lot of times in this space, when you talk about that aspect of being, a romantic or something like that, blase, that's seen as simping, right? And it's seen as such, really by this younger generation. So I just really want to hear your take on what you view what do you see in terms of the dating scene for these youngins out here now?
Yeah, the young generation, I think, moved too fast, and it's not really their fault. They're just a byproduct of the environment. I think they move too fast. I think the men don't know how to adequately broker power in the relationship. They give up too much too soon. And I think the women sometimes give their virtue away too soon. They are so fancy free with giving their bodies to multiple men. I think it diminishes their feminine demure. I think that's one of the reasons why relationships are not as palatable as they were in the past. I was on Guapo's show and we talked about the penis imprint, and women are imprinted differently through sex than men. And so ideally, men and women both should be practicing chastity and striving to be as chaste as they can. We know nobody's perfect. But I think it diminishes the image of a woman. When a man has something that's mysterious, he takes it more serious. Men are hunters by nature. So when they're in the pursuit of something that they deem as a prize, because she is bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh, he's more willing to cherish it. But if that prize is given away too easily and too freely, if that man is expecting her to be his woman, I'm very competitive by nature. And I don't think I can see her as much as I can't see her the same. But that's me. I'm just old school. And so, like I said, I think men, the younger generation tends to broker power too much. They don't, they give things up too quick. And it's not always their fault. They have not been adequately taught. Many have not seen an example. But and then also a lot of our young men have not been taught to do things based on principles. You know, a masculine father would tell him, say, listen, boy, if she does not respect you as a man, you get rid of her. If she does not value your principles and your program, you get rid of her. I was listening to a show, Mr. Palmer, yesterday. And this young lady was talking about how so many men are simp lollipops. And she basically was saying that, you know, she can talk with 2 other men in front of him, and he wouldn't do anything because he was more or less mesmerized by the vagina. But women only respect power and strength. She said the woman said when she got her husband, she said that her husband demanded expectations. He had standards. And he told that woman, if you don't meet those standards, those expectations, we're going to have issues. The problem is now too many men are carbon copies of one another. They don't stand out exclusively. Too many women are carbon copies of one another. They don't stand out exclusively. And so women respect men that stand out. They don't want men that do the same thing other men do, and men don't want women that do the same thing that other women do. I think Guapo even said there was a time, when he was living in Atlanta, how easy sex was. And so I think it diminishes a woman when she and a man, when they don't hold standards for one another, to more or less make that synchronicity be optimized, in my opinion.
Okay. I like that answer. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef. Welcome to King Talk. We live, baby. Welcome to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Also get them likes up. Now that we talked about dating and we talked about sex, let's talk about marriage. And I think this is very important because either the man and woman come into that marriage, and sometimes the role changes. Sometimes it changes. Sometimes it's one way when you're dating, or sometimes it may be the same while they're dating as they transition into marriage. But then after they've been together so long, the roles seem to change. Complaints start to arise. So let's break this down real quick. Let's talk about a woman's role as a wife and your expectations for her as a wife. Start with you, Trill.
My expectations for a woman as a wife, again, I look at marriage a little differently than I think most people do. And I think my age has a lot to do with it. But I think marriage itself, like the act of getting married, is merely a formality if you built what y'all was supposed to build up until that point. And a lot of people hear me say that and they go, wow. It's because of like, a lot of people feel like once I get married, Flip is gonna switch and we're gonna jump into being this new, different people. That's not the case. It's not the case. When you get married, if your foundation is trash before you enter into the marriage, it will continue to be trash before you enter the marriage. The only thing that marriage does, essentially, like as far as we talking about long term, like what I say all the time is that things don't increase; they only decrease. In terms of romance, in terms of sex, in terms of spontaneity, in terms of different things like that, over time it decreases. It doesn't increase. So you have to build your foundation super solid before you cross them. So when you get in there, it's already at a super high level. So when the decrease comes, and it will come, doesn't matter how ideal people say, oh no, you got to work at it, you got to do this, you got to do that. Fact is that life happens, kids happen, careers change, confidence changes, weight changes, different things like that. So if you are not factoring that in, you are doing yourself a disservice. But I think what it is you have to constantly be able to adapt in marriage. And I feel like that's what my expectation would be. But again, if I'm vetting her right, if we dated right, if I took the amount of time to really learn the person that I'm marrying, then I kind of got a great idea of her adaptability and how things are going to go. So it's not going to be that drastic of a change in terms of what I expect from her. I expect peace. I expect support. I expect her to not depend on me for her happiness and depend on me for her purpose. I feel like those two things she should work out on her own. I should be able to support her while she's doing that, and she should be able to support me while I chase mine. I know like a lot of older men, again, I think last time I was on here, we was talking about that. We was talking about like how a woman's purpose is her man. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. And the reason being is because when you tie your purpose to somebody or you tie your happiness to somebody, The fact is that it's a great chance that relationship's not gonna last. So after you done been in this relationship 10, 12 years, and now I ain't gonna go to college because I want to support my man and he's doing this. So hey, I ain't gonna work right now. I'm gonna just support my man and stay home and raise the kid. And all of that's cool if the relationship lasts 60 years. But if it lasts 10 or 15, now you asked out. Right? We done got married at 25. Now you're 40 now. Your body does not look the same. You are not as attractive. So now I've left you, and now you have to go try to latch on to another man. And then you're holding resentment towards me because, oh, you wasted 15 years, the problem of my life, you wasted it, da da da. Or you had a situations to where people be married 40, 50 years, and that woman is filled with regret. Now she don't regret her kids, or she don't regret being the woman that she needed to be for her family, but she regrets not pursuing things that she was passionate about. You know, she's happy that her man accomplished his goals, but she didn't get to pursue what she wanted. Right. So now this is how you have most of these older couples, 40, 50, 60 years old, that's living in separate, sleeping in separate rooms and hardly saying 10 words to each other when it's not a family function and everybody goes home from visiting them. They done fell out of love, but they done been, you know, especially with her, she's tied her livelihood to this man to where she has nothing but resentment toward him now because he done cheated on her. He got side kids and he done did this, did that, and just done whittled her worth to nothing. But because he's all she knew and she stayed. And now she's, you know, crippled. Her knees are cut from under her. Like I know women that's 65, 70 that don't even know how to drive or don't know how to pay bills because my man did it all. I tied my, you know, my man, there's my man that. But now he died and you left the last 15, 20 years of your life helpless. You don't even know how to live. You have the capacity of a teenager. So that's how I view it. I expect her to pursue her interests and not depend on me for her happiness and her purpose and just be solid. We support each other. We create our own blueprint. We don't emulate a damn thing we've seen before or while we're in this relationship because everybody's different. So, you know, it's okay to pull small things here, small things there that may work, but to try to emulate or copy somebody's guideline for what a relationship will be, the relationship failed before it started. So that answers it.
I like that perspective.
Trill came from
Wapo.
violence.
Yeah, Wapo.
Okay.
Woman's role as a wife and your expectations for her as your wife.
Yeah, man. So Trill, I understand your perspective, man. I really disagree. And here's why. I've been using the analogy of, you know, applying for a job. Once you actually get hired and start operating within your role, you are now a part of this company, and your actions can actually be a benefit or a detriment to our success. All right. So when you work a job, your role is to support that job. If you want to make some money and that's what you're trying to do, your role is to support that job, just like the woman's role is to support that man. I'm with you. You know, I get it. Like it shouldn't be defined, but there are job roles and responsibilities. I'm hiring right now. You know, there is a job description that if you are not qualified for, and let's say somehow you finagle your way into the position, the truth is going to come out once you actually start performing that role. And if, okay, you may be weak in some areas here and there, and we'll sync up and you can get some coaching with this, or you can elevate yourself there, or, you know, get to the point where you're proficient in some areas. But if over and over and over again, you're in the position where you're failing, you're becoming a detriment, and that's how you get fired. And let me get even colder. Check it out. Getting fired in the United States, what do you get? You get unemployment. Welcome to, you know, child support and alimony. That's what we're dealing with. But that's where the real work begins when you get married. My expectation when, and this is coming, having been married, about to get married again, is to not be duped, to not go through the entire process of vetting you for marriage, going through an engagement, tying our finances together, and then we finally get into the thick of things. And if I have a bad day, you got my back. And if you have a bad day, I got your back. But when the rubber meets the road, you know, you are incapable of performing the duties in that job description. You knew what it was. You wanted the paycheck, but didn't want to have to do the work. And that's what a lot of wives do these days. They want that paycheck. They want the benefits of that job, but they don't want to go in and put in their 40 hours for real. So I feel where you're coming from, but I think absolutely if you want the family and the marriage to thrive and everything, you have to get in there and actually do the work. And the marriage is where the work actually begins. It's not time to coast then. That's when you actually get to work. That's what I got.
Hey, Guap, I got a question for you.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna use your job analogy, right? When you sign on to the job and you are working a job and you are, fulfilling your duties, but most people at jobs have side hustles, don't they? Say for instance, like you, like is this your primary income? This YouTube stuff?
No, it's not. So,
okay, so you have a regular job, and then you have like your passion, or what you like really passionate. I would imagine giving advice and things of that nature is where you get your passion from, right? So using your analogy, you having that side hustle or that side job, you are not 100% invested in that job that you work regularly,
right?
And that would be the case for most people. And the reason being is because, yeah, sure, I mean the job is great to have and whatever the case may be, but like after you get them, if that job is not your passion, then you're going to go pursue other things anyway. But when you go do your side hustle, you aren't 100% committed to that job. You are not.
Let me clarify, if you don't mind, Trill.
Sure.
When I started out and we started about talking about interviewing and preparing your resume, I said looking for the career of a lifetime that you want to ultimately retire from. That's the level of job that we're talking, that once in a lifetime job. That's that marriage. So I get what you're saying about the side hustle. I don't believe it actually applies, but if we want to give it some context, hey, side hustle's the kids that you guys have. You're not going to quit. You're not going to quit. And this is where we get into the modern pathology and relationships. How many people do we know that there used to be a saying, don't quit your day job? A lot of women are quitting their careers, their full-time jobs for the side hustle. They're quitting their marriages to be there, to go and be single parents. So I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, nah, man, like if we go through all of this, I'm talking them good old union, Kosher knows what I'm talking about. Those good old union jobs, you know what I'm saying? That you had a pension. That's what I'm talking about. Not your run of the mill, things have changed. I'm a little bit older too, but I get where you're coming from. But you see my perspective, right?
No, I get it. I get it. And I agree with that. But I would ask, what's the likelihood of you actually staying at that job forever? Right. It's not high in this era. It's not high at all.
Yeah.
It's probably about similar to the likelihood of you being married forever. I
get it.
Right. So not saying that you plan for your marriage to fail, right? But I would equate it to, when you leave your house and you get in your car, you go drive somewhere, right? You don't plan on getting in a wreck. You don't, but you still buckle that seatbelt, but you still have insurance on that car, right? So that's what I mean when I say when my woman is in a relationship and I want her to pursue things that are for her, in case this relationship ends, because relationships are a losing game. Doesn't matter how much you read, doesn't matter how well prepared you are for it. Life happens. The reality is the divorce rate is about 50 or lower %, which means that we are playing a losing game. It's like sitting at that blackjack table. I could be an expert in blackjack, but damn it, if it's the odds are against me. The house, the rules of the house is going. If I play long enough, I'm gonna lose, and that's the reality that I sit down with. So when I enter a relationship, how I look at it is very similar. The likelihood of this lasting for 60 years is not likely. So do not tie your livelihood to me, because if we're married 20 years and I divorce you, I don't want you to be, you hating me for the rest of your life and you be on your ass because you ain't been working or you ain't been building nothing or you ain't been chasing your passion. No, that's going to be on you. So that's how I view it. The likelihood of this shit lasting forever, it's not high. So move accordingly.
I'm with you. And it's just different perspectives. We're looking at the same thing just from different angles, Right. I'm the cautiously optimistic, glass half full guy. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I just believe I've always believed in shooting the shot, bro. You know, and I don't know. I don't want to get off track, but I'm with you. We're saying the same thing, just from two different viewpoints.
Go ahead, Coach. I was coming to you next, but
let me add to that, and I respect what Trill is saying, because I think it's a generational dynamic. It's a generational difference. And there's some very salient points of what Trill is saying, because he's looking at it, through a more pragmatic lens. But the issues that we're talking about within the confines of America is not a world problem. It's a Western problem. And it's called negative socialization. It's how we've been socialized. Now watch this. If a man is a righteous man, her purpose, in my opinion, and I stand firm on that, is to serve her husband. Now watch this. If a man is a good man, he's going to do everything for that woman, if she's following his purpose, to make sure if they do go astray, he got a $500,000 life insurance policy online. He's doing everything in his power to make sure if they ever go their separate way, that he's going to take care of it. That's what a good man does. He's not going to leave that woman renderless. He's going to do everything in his power to take care of her. And I think that's the difference between millennials and Xers and boomers. It's just a different perspective. Gen Xers and boomers stayed on jobs longer. Millennials and Zennials, they just don't. They move fast. And, it is what it is. When women have their careers and their ambition, many times they're not happy. Women are more happy when they're serving their man. They're more happy when they're serving their man. And they become greater compliments of that man if that man is a balanced, well-cerebral man, meaning if she's doing housework or she's doing house duties, he's going to make sure he's going to take care of her. He might get her some help, or he might say, babe, I got you on the back end. A good man is going to do that. He's not going to just dump everything on her. But it's a Western issue. It's a Western issue. It's not a world issue, because in other countries, those women have their careers, but they also make it their purpose to serve their man, to the point that they will put their career on the side to make sure that man is taken care of. Also, there's contingent research that says, as I said earlier, women are happier when they serving their man. On your deathbed, the last stage is called ego integrity versus despair. That's the last stage of your psychosocial stage of development. On your deathbed, you're not going to be worried about your career, your ambition, or none of that. The only thing you're going to be worried about is that, how did I serve my family? Have I laid a legacy for my family for them to carry on to the next generation? You ain't gonna give a damn about how much money you make, how much bank you got. You don't care about that. Your main focus and your purpose is going to be, did I leave a legacy? And was I the woman I needed to be for my husband? Then once again, I'm more of a traditionalist, and I do agree with Trill about being pragmatic about it, because he's right. 80 to 90% of divorces end in marriage, often initiated by women. But if a man is a good, righteous man, he's very cerebral, because men get stronger with age. We get more refined. He's going to take care of that woman. And maybe that's the Leo in me. I don't live by the zodiac, but I'm a Leo. Leos take care of the people in their pride. And so that's my take on it.
Like that.
We didn't brought back some shit from 2 weeks ago.
Shane, I'm coming to you next.
Trill wasn't finished. Trill was like, I ain't done with last week's conversation.
I'm coming with you, Shane. A woman's role as a wife and your expectations for her as a wife.
A woman's role as a wife. Oh, we back on topic. As a wife. Now remember, a woman's role in dating should be indistinguishable. It should be the same. You can't see the difference. They're one and the same. The primary difference is when you become a wife, and make no mistake, I'm not talking about marriage. One of the problems that I had, and one of the failures I did, is that I didn't plan for my marriage, and I didn't plan to be the best husband. I did plan to have a wedding. A lot of people want to be married, but don't want to be husbands and wives. A lot of women, and since we're talking about women tonight, a lot of women want to be married. They think that, they won the race once they get the ring, not the engagement ring, because women, y'all got plenty of engagement rings. I'm talking about the wedding band. Once they get the wedding band, they won the race and they can kick their feet back. I'm talking about being a wife. So we're talking about wives. The difference here between the dating stage is, you cross the path, and now you're presenting yourself to the world with a new identity. You are now a whole new person. You got a whole new last name. And now you are an extension and reflection of your family and your man. So the role changes because now you're presented to the world and you are now a team player. If you, my woman, you are team Rawls. You are team Rawls. And I'm presenting, and we're presenting and going out and facing the world together on a united front. As boyfriend and girlfriend, maybe, you know, dating, that's not the case. But now that it's official, you're an extension of our family and you're a reflection of me. I expect wives to be reflections of their husbands. That's why men want virtuous women. That's why men want a woman that he has no problems with. I was having a conversation with somebody saying they had a conversation today on Clubhouse talking about body count. And there was and the brother was up saying, oh, you know, women's body count don't matters to men. And some other brothers came up, oh man, if you care about body count, you a sucker. That means you ain't getting no woman. I said, what are you talking about? I wasn't there. I was told about the conversation because if I was there, I would have went ham on that stage. Men care about body counts. Men want, because you are a reflection of him to the world, and you're an extension of your family, and you're presented as such, as virtue of your new identity. So the things that change from your behaviors probably shouldn't change because they should be the same as when you were dating, but now it's official. There's a piece of paper that sanctions that. And then you're going out into the world, and now you can wear the shirt that says Team Rawls or Team whoever your man is. And so that is the difference, in my opinion, for a wife who's married, not just somebody who's married, but a wife who's married. In the role change that you had from a girlfriend, now you're an extension of the family, and you're a reflection of your man.
Damn, mic drop, Shan.
Emptied the clip. Well, you cat dog, man.
Gorilla. You know, I mean, it's okay if you got a couple sentences, man. If you can, just your own perspective. A woman's role as a wife and your expectations for her as your wife.
Yeah, this is definitely one of them episodes. I'm gonna have to go back, watch this about 3-4 more times, or listen to it on the way to work. Salute to all the gentlemen on the panel tonight. A woman's role as a wife. And I think a lot of times when people talk about roles as a wife, it's interesting that the whole time we've been talking, we haven't really talked about tasks. And I think when you talk about a woman's role as a wife, a lot of times women see like they get task oriented. And what we're talking about is the intangibles, right? So the woman, I wrote a couple things, but you know, her role as a wife is to be supportive. And I know a lot of time, I know it's cliche. I know we toss that word around. But it's similar to the man that goes out, works, you fighting with the world, you fighting at the job, you're doing this, doing that. And then when you come home, you know, you want your castle, you want your home to be a place of peace. You want to be a place of serenity, comfort. And when you come to your woman, you know, even if you just, you know, rehashing a day or whatever, like that support is everything. When you cast a vision and you say, this is the direction that we're going in, or this is the legacy that we're building, you know, as the co-laborer, it's everything for that wife to support that husband. It's everything for that wife to support that husband. She's an asset, right? She's an asset. She's complementary to the vision. It has nothing to do with who washing dishes. You know, it has nothing to do with who's doing the laundry or who's cooking or who's cleaning. Like all that stuff, we could figure that out. And to be honest, for me, it's that type of stuff you figure out based on who's good at what. Like, to be honest, if she don't know how to wash clothes, I mean, she should, right? You should be vetting her as a wife. But if that's not a deal breaker for you, you know, it's not a deal breaker for me. I know how to wash my own clothes, so I don't have a problem with washing my own clothes. But the intangibles is what I need. Are you supporting the mission? And I think, you know, not to pick, well, kind of to piggyback what Trill, some of what you were saying, and for Guapo, I know you were saying you cautiously optimistic. I'm ridiculously optimistic, right? So this, as I said before, I'm divorced. I was married for 10 years, and you know, I made a lot of mistakes. And going into this situation, You know, and I do understand things happen, but you know, I told my boo thing, man, that, you know, and we both agreed to this, but you know, we agree, man, at this stage in the game, man, the only way somebody leaving is with a toe tag. We finna ride this thing out, man. We finna ride this thing out. We gonna build this legacy. And we gonna build this legacy, and we gonna leave a mark on this world that'll never be erased. That's the expectation.
Really, man, killing it tonight, bro. You guys are all bringing some great perspectives. I want to ask you guys, right? So we've been talking about the ideal man, the husband, you know, what that looks like, quality man. We talked about a woman's role as a wife. If the man is doing what he's supposed to do, right? The man that we talked about in the very beginning, why would a woman disregard a man's expectations? Why would a woman disregard a man's expectations? Start with you, Wapo.
That's a wow. Why would a woman disregard a man's expectations? For no good reason that I can think of. I'm a little man, you got me stuck. So the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head of why a woman would do that is a sense of entitlement. And I know that's hot button and all that stuff, but yeah, if that happens when you think that you're more valuable than what you're getting and you don't appreciate the interdependence of that type of relationship, you know, there's a saying that fair exchange ain't no robbery, right? So a lot of people don't feel like putting in the work and doing what is expected of them. And a lot of it comes from conditioning, which leads to entitlement and stuff like that. I see Kosher taking notes. So hopefully I'm trying to land this plane without wrecking it. But yeah, I think that a lot of it comes from the entitlement that people have. And that can be on both ends. That doesn't just have to be women being unappreciative of what men do, but likewise, I've seen it the other way around, you know. The other thing, here's the other thought. Sometimes women will self-sabotage. If they know that they are not going to be able to really perform in that role at the end of the line, they might do something to grenade it ahead of time, you know, so that they won't be fully exposed out there in front of everybody. So those are the two things I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. Gentlemen, this one right here is a free fall. I won't go around. If you got something to bring to the table with this, why would a woman disregard a man's expectations?
I would say because her livelihood not tied to him. I mean, that's the thing that kept most of the older relationships together, man. Is her livelihood was tied to him. These days, women don't have that issue. A lot of these women is bosses. They're out here getting their own bread. They making their own money. So it's like the second that I feel like this quote unquote tally that I'm keeping, which is a new age thing, the second I feel like this tally I'm keeping is getting lopsided, then hell no, I'm not gonna respect what your expectations are. You're not maintaining what you quote unquote supposed to be doing. And I think that goes both ways. If we to be honest, like a lot of men, you know, when the sex die down, hell no, we ain't gonna be romantic. Hell no, we ain't gonna be going out our way to plan dates and different things like that. You're not holding your end. You're not maintaining what you advertise to me in that dating stage. You know what I'm saying? So I think in this era, you know, it's a real 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of mentality. Now that could work in two ways. It could work in a way to, you know, to where it's to the detriment of the relationship because neither person is quote unquote 100% committed, or it could motivate each party to stay on their toes. Because if I slack, then they have options waiting as well, just like I do. You know what I'm saying? So that could motivate some people to kind of stay on guard, stay on point. But you know, who knows? But again, I think to sum it up, the answer is livelihood. Livelihood is of the utmost importance, man. And these days, women don't have the issues that older women had as far as that.
I don't think they have the options that they think they have. True, but let me ask you this: Is it because, do you think by and large, of course there's no absolutes, but do you think by and large it's because the women are saying that the men aren't doing what they're supposed to do, so that's why they're not doing it, or is something else that's driving them for that? Do you think that
it's always us not doing what we supposed to be doing, bro? Like every time we bring up the sex situation, that's the first thing they say. It's like, oh damn, baby, you know, when we was dating, the sex was here, now it's there. But you don't romance me the way you used to do, or you don't buy me flowers the way you used to do, or you ain't doing. It's always something we not doing. So in terms of how they think, that's what they think. Now, in terms of like what reality is, that's something else. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
So you was just telling us what they saying. Okay,
Right.
We got yeah, that's what they writing in the report.
You already know. You already know how it go.
All right, for sure.
Well, I wanna say this. I feel as though some men don't even set the expectations in the beginning. I feel like they pillow talking to their guys and their best friends, telling them what they want, but they won't tell their wives. They won't tell their wives. So how can you expect a woman to know your expectations when you never express them? You never tell her how you want her to move, or what she should be doing, or what you like or what you don't like. You just sitting there looking at her, just do her. Women got to be led. Women got to be led. And if you don't lead them, then you can't trip. You can't complain. You can't go talking to your guy. You got to set those expectations in the beginning. Because if you don't, once you get 5, 6, 7 years in a marriage, even 2 years, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for you. It's a possibility at that point she may not even respect you. So even if you set the expectations, she might not answer to them. That's just my take on it.
That's real though, because a lot of dudes do try to set it late. I think you got to come in there with that, you know, with that game plan from the door. But that goes back to what we was talking about earlier about vision and about, you know, setting the standard for what this situation is going to be. A lot of dudes really, like, genuinely don't know. They just know that I like this woman, and they know that this woman is head and shoulders above the rest of my roster, and she's kind of ultimatum me into being more serious. So it's like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do it because this is what she want. I'm gonna marry, I'm gonna propose because I feel like this is what she want. She's kind of hinting, you know, that way to me. So when they get to the marriage, they don't really know as far as what the legacy gonna be, as far as what the family structure gonna be, as far as that. There's just some shit that they got to figure out on the fly. And then once they start putting it together, you know, you years into the relationship. Now it's like, okay, nah, but we gonna do it this way. She looking at you like, the hell you talking about? We ain't doing it now. We're gonna do it the way we've been doing it. You know what I'm saying? So that's real. What you're saying is 1,000% right.
Man, like, I'm gonna tell you this. This is the honest to God truth. I know some men, even family members, that cannot get out the house. It's like playing double dutch to approach her, to say you want to go out with the guys because you didn't set those expectations in the beginning. So now it's a struggle. You itching to go out. You've been in the house a straight year and can't even approach your woman to let her know that you want to go out because you're afraid of her reactions. Expectations have to be set in the beginning. You got to set that foundation. You the man. You set the tone. You the reason why the grass grow. You can't let her lead, because if you let her lead, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing, man. You gotta have control. She gonna lose respect. She don't have no respect for you. Her expectation is that you're gonna sit up under her. And if she see you ain't got no life, then guess what? She gonna get bored with your ass. And that's just real talk. She gonna get bored with your ass. Don't nobody want to fuck with you. You don't want to fuck with them. All you do is lay up under her ass 24/7. What are you doing with your life? All you do is work and come home and be up under her, watching her 9 times out of 10, making sure she ain't doing nothing she ain't supposed to be doing. You shouldn't be thinking about what she doing and even trying to be up under her. Go have a life. Let her seek some validation from you. She got you figured out. And when she got you figured out, what's going to happen in the near future, you don't know. It's up for grabs then.
And JR, real quick, force her to have a life so she's not on your ass 24/7. I think that's what a lot a lot of dudes make that mistake, man. Like they want their woman to be, all up on them or whatever the case may be, and that's cool in the honeymoon stage. It's cool. But once you get years into this shit, and now she cutting her friends off, her friends call, let's go to the bar. No, I don't want to go. I'm cool. I ain't doing this. No, I ain't doing that. Like all that shit cool at first. And then it's like, damn, like please go have a life. So I ain't even trying to get out and do nothing. I just want to just stay here and watch the game dolo. Like just sit in silence and peace. I just want you away from
that
me.
piece that really was talking about earlier.
That's real though. But and the wild part of it, just like you said, if you don't set that standard in the beginning, when you bring that to a years into the relationship, she'll look at you like, oh, you don't like spending time with me. You don't want to do this. No, that's why you got to set that standard, bro. That's why I preach individuality within a relationship. I strongly believe in that. Now, of course, certain things gotta change as far as like how often I'm going out. When I'm single, I'm out 5-6 days a week. But when I'm in a relationship, I'm out, a couple days a week. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still going out. I'm still maintaining who I am. I'm still getting that me time away from just being a husband, away from being your man. Like, and you need to go do that shit too. That's why, bro, push her toward her friends when they offering to take her out or go to the bar or whatever, so you can get some peace, bro. Or else that relationship is not gonna last. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna get tired of it, and that's when you start getting mad about little shit that ain't even that important, but you just sick of her just being right here. So yeah, bro, 1,000% on point with that.
I know the younger generation has been speaking, and I know we got Kosha, Wapo, and Shan. The phone lines are open up. We'll take a couple calls before we end this live. If we don't get no calls, then we're just going to end it. But you guys want to chime in this real quick? I got one person waiting, so you guys want to chime in?
I got something for you, JR. And sometimes you have to remember stuff that you've already been taught. I had an uncle that was more like my big brother, passed away young age. We lost him early. He was 45. But that dude gave me so much game as a teenager. And what he told me back then is exactly what you just said, is you have to establish your position early in a relationship. And if you don't do that, you can't expect the person you're with to change and then abide by these new standards that you want to have. Now, you all can evolve together and everything, but he told me, and I'm young, I'm still puppy loving high school girls back then. And he was telling me, he was like, man, if you mess it up in the beginning, you're better off breaking it off and starting over. So, JR, I don't think a lot of cats know that. What you're saying is the absolute truth. We talk about women coming into relationships and being wives and not changing that once they get to the point of being a wife. But even more important is for the men to set the tone and the pace of the relationship and be the tip of the spear and be that visionary like we talked about when you asked the initial question. So my humble opinion for everybody, all the men out there, if you don't take anything away from this broadcast, that's it right there. You better set those expectations from the very beginning, and you're going to have to sack up and you're going to have to say some uncomfortable stuff, and either she's with it or she's not. And if she's not, it's all good. And 4 billion of them out there.
And I'm telling y'all, she may not like it when you say it, but she's going to respect it. It's going to be different. Don't be afraid of reaction when you say, I'm going to go out. But I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out. Everything's going to be cool. I'm not on nothing. I'm going to go out. I'll see you later. She's going to respect you. You got to start somewhere, because once you just keep doing it and it just never happens, then she's going to expect for you to be at the house. You got to get out and get you some air. You got to give her some opportunity to be able to miss you. It's nothing to miss when you always there. It's nothing to miss. You got to enjoy life. You got to be able to learn some things. If all you know is what you know because you lack experience, you're going to be able to bring nothing back. If you can't have if you scared to answer your phone because you don't know what your man's going to be talking about, you're just scared to have conversations, period, because your woman is there, then you don't have no control. You've lost control. Your woman she wears the pants. She has all the control. She should be beaten to your beat. She should. It's just, I don't get some of these guys. I get irritated to the fact that I'm seeing these brothers like this. Right. And it's like, like you grown, man, do you? And even after having the conversation with you, they get offended. They get emotional, and then it's like, oh, it just makes a lot of sense now. Makes a lot of sense. You got the emotions. She's wearing the pants. Can't do shit. You just got a boring ass life. All you do is stay up in the house. Everything is about her. I don't know. It's boring. We're gonna start bringing some callers up.
Let me address that real quick, JR.
Go ahead.
Quick. Yeah.
Coach.
So and you made a very powerful point in a very practical way. And the question remains, why would a woman disregard a man's expectations? I say it all the time on my show that power never conceded to anything without a struggle. It never have and it never will. And it's called conditioned reinforcement. A woman will reinforce what you condition her to do. Too many men defer power in relationships because most men in our world, and especially black boys, are not in families when they're raised by men. Other cultures don't have these issues, and I think Wapo can reference me on that. They don't have the issues that we have. Women in other countries are conditioned to serve their husbands, to serve their brothers, and then on the flip side, the men provide, protect, and take care of them. This is more of a Western issue than it is a world issue. There's another saying that Frederick Douglass said. He says it's easier to heal broken children than damaged men. And many men have been damaged because they continue to defer power in a relationship. They don't set the bar. They don't have parameters. And when I worked in law enforcement, I was a mental health correction officer. The caveat they used to tell us, they said the way you start out is how you're going to hold out. And so you can remodify that relationship, but it's going to take a lot more work if you start out on a faulty ground versus starting out on a very solid ground. And so I tell my men that your values is your foundation. What you value is what you're going to build your foundation on. And so sometimes you have to deconstruct that foundation to refortify what you want to do as a man. But a lot of it is fatherlessness, where boys have not seen true, strong masculinity. And I'm grateful to have grown up in a generation where things were changing, where we actually saw true masculinity. Most guys, they don't know how to operate. And they're what I call the unconscious simp, where they sacrifice or supplement irrational male patterns. There's an old saying that said, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. And many of our women, like Guapo said, tend to have what's called narcissistic traits. I'm not saying they're bona fide narcissists, but they have narcissistic traits. So when you're an unconscious simp, what you do, you supplement irrational male patterns, which in essence feeds what's called a narcissistic supply. So you're feeding that narcissistic supply through that negative feedback loop. And what happens, she doesn't respect you as a man. Women respect only strength and power. The more you stand on your strength as a man, the more she's going to respect you. And then some of the women that are high rollers, they're high rollers. They're making their money, they're making their bread. But we don't have the proper safeguards in America like other countries do. There is no fallback plan in other countries. In other countries, you're expected to adhere to your man. And now they're not, because money is the greater equalizer. And then another thing I want to talk about that I think has been a major detriment. She values her worth more than she values his worth. And some of that, guys, and Guapo and I talked about it on this show at one point. It's what I call the daddy princess syndrome. It's the daddy princess syndrome. We teach our girls from a young age, and I got 3, that they are better than the men. We teach them, we condition them to think that they are better, which in essence lead to entitlement. It leads to selfishness. And so that's the condition called conditional reinforcement. We have conditioned our women and reinforced that negative thinking error that her worth is better than his. It's a thinking error called the magnification of the woman and the minimization of the man, because boys have not been adequately taught to broker power. They fall back into that karmic cycle where they're more or less acquiescing to the whims of that woman instead of saying, damn it, I demand to be respected as a man. Because watch this, men are still expected. They're still expected to adhere to traditional norms or mores. They're still expected to be providers and protectors. But our women can juxtapose between being traditional and feminine, traditional and modern whenever they want. So I totally agree. It's conditional reinforcement. And I blame the men. I blame the men that also are here to, elevating their girls to making them feel like they're special. So that's my take on that.
I like that, Coach. You broke it down to a science right there. I just want to speak to the men that's out there that's married to the high rollers, right? I know plenty of women that act tough, but they really soft. That would cry in a heartbeat, right? You can dethrone her and regain that power. Kosha says strength and power. That's what they respect. You can do it. You just got to do it. You just got to do it. She's so used to having the power and looking at you down here. She's comfortable. And the only way that you're going to be able to grow is you got to make her uncomfortable.
Right, right.
You have to regain your power, the respect. The respect level goes up to here. When she'll look at you differently. It's gonna be foreign when you bring it to her, because it's gonna be like, who the hell he think he talking to? Who are you? Let her lay down for a minute and wake up. It might take a couple days or so, but you got to be consistent. When you feel that pushback, you can't fall back.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stand up here.
Mm-hmm.
You got to let her know what it is.
Right.
You the man. You may not have known it. You may have grew up a certain way. It's time to cut out them damn excuses. We giving you the game right now. We telling your ass how it's supposed to be. It's gonna be up to you to carry it now. It's like a relay race. We come on here, we speak. Here you go, motherfucker. Take that shit and run with it. Get your respect back. Get your power. You the man. Go ahead, Ray.
Hey, what's going on, fellas, tonight? Y'all touched on everything. A lot of good topics y'all touched on and had the fellas thinking. So I'm just going to add to it. I'm also a husband too. I've been married almost 12 years, and so I'm gonna just try to go real fast. I know there's other people trying to chime in on it. Y'all talked about the qualities of a husband. I think one of the things that you have to have is you have to be protective. A man that also loves his woman, by nature, we are territorial, so protection automatically it's gonna come with it. You got to be able to take care of yourself, hygiene wise and physically. I think you should be a spiritual man. It shows you will have some type of structure. You got to be supportive. You got to be able to accept her flaws, be romantic, be a great communicator. And I think those are the roles that you should have as a man going into marriage or whatever.
What do you mean accept her flaws?
Yeah, because a woman's not perfect, so she's going to come with some flaws. And if you accept her flaws, I think a woman will open up to you more.
Give me an example of a flaw.
Any of her flaws. So let's say y'all talked about the body count. Sometimes you know that women don't like to talk about their body count, but if you're willing to be open about it, I think she'll open it up to you about her body count. Because they say when a woman tells you her body count, multiply it by 3, but you shouldn't have to.
J. Cole says 4, but go ahead.
Well, whatever.
Oh no, he said 3. He said 3. J. Cole said 3. Go ahead though.
Yeah. So if you give her that openness and that she can trust you with that, I think she'll open up to you from the rip. And if you're willing to accept it, go with it. If you can't, at least she knows where she stands with you.
Okay.
Another thing, a man, when it comes to dating, the roles of dating a woman, I think first he evaluates and he sees who's suitable to him. So things I saw in my wife was her femininity. It stood out from the rip. I saw it from when I first laid eyes on her. She brought me mental peace. She was a great listener. She listened to the needs and the dislikes. The dislikes, she tried to avoid them, and that's what a good listener will do, especially when it comes to a woman like that. A woman will actively try and see how she could add to you and not take away.
Um, I think a good woman will also smile. That's one thing that stuck out to her. My wife, she smiles all the time, and it's very rare that she doesn't smile. So I know that there's something really wrong with her. Um, Also, she'll be a great support to you. Um, she should put you first. Only thing that should come before you is God and Jesus. Everything else she'll put before you. My wife, I noticed with her, she cut her friends off, and also even her family was at a limit. So that's one of the things that stood out to me also. Um,
All this
do go.
happened after you got married, or did you
This
require some of this
happened
stuff for
before
all of it when you were dating?
when we were dating, and it gradually happened, but it happened pretty fast. I was ready to marry my wife within 2 months. So that's how fast, it stood out.
Hold tight, Ray. You said she cut her friends and family off for you. What? Why did it come to that?
She didn't cut them off completely. She just, her time of, with her going out, it just shut down drastically. It didn't go, she wasn't going out as much as she was.
Oh,
So
okay.
she devoted more of her time towards me because she wanted to be married. So I'm gonna get to that in a second about the wife thing because Rilla had brought it out. It's a good scripture too. Does the roles after sex change? Um, I don't. I don't think. I think it does. I'm sorry. Sex does not. I'm sorry. Sex does not change in a lot of the time because a lot of the times, us men, when we dealing with some women, uh, we're with them for just the sex. It's not really. It's not really amounting to something. So if we were if we were trying to be serious with them, then yes, the expectations will change. But most of the time, it's just about the sex, and we're just dating. When women catch feelings, then that's when the expectations start to change, and then they're like, "Where is this going?" But to us in our minds, it's just about the sex. I mean, I'm just being brutally honest. That's how I was, and unless I was really trying to be serious with that woman, I wasn't expecting anything but friends with benefits. But like the scriptures say, he who finds a good wife finds a good thing. And like I said, Rilla had brought that up earlier. The roles you look for in her before she became your wife, it will be the same going into it. The only thing that will happen is that that it will increase. So y'all had talked about something like when it comes to like I think you had brought an analogy about a job. Um, the analogy was I look at it like this: dating is the interview, the relationship is the job. Put in work that's expected of that job. And the marriage is the promotion to a CEO. Your roles are the same, but with a slight increase. That's how I see dating, relationship, marriage. That's all we're talking about tonight, fellas.
The last part cut off. What you say?
I said that's all I wanted to add to the conversation tonight. That's all.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all having me up here. Keep doing what y'all doing, man. A lot of good information out there. The brothers need to listen to y'all, especially youth, because I'm 40 myself. So with these brothers, so y'all should really listen.
All right. Salute to you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
Ray. As always, thanks for the support, brother.
No problem.
All right. Bill, me, you there?
Yeah, thank you. First off, respect and salutations to all.
Thank you.
Uh, all right. So there's a couple of things I wanted to say, and I also have some an addendum, I guess, for what happened last week. But if that's okay. So one thing I want to kind of head off everything with is power is not given; it's taken. Yes, if you go in a broader context, it has to be released so that it can be taken. But there is an action that is required when you take up things. And the way I associate power, I associate with responsibility. Once you remove that concept, you basically, whatever is happening, you're just allowing it to happen, if that makes sense. Because if there's no responsibility attached to the power that you're doing, you're using, you're wielding, you're just a tyrant. You don't deserve what you have, and someone else will take you off the block. That's how I think about it. Um, Another thing I was going to talk about was about good traits. Because honestly, a lot of things I'm hearing is, for me, when I think about both men and women, it's basically the same in terms of what is good. Like, for example, being active, being proactive. These are all good traits, and they're just applied differently based on who you are. So if you have a general good quality like confidence, or you're proactive, you get things done, that shouldn't be a problem. It's a problem when you're exercising it in a different dimension, as far as I'm concerned, because you're abusing it, you're using it, you're doing it in excess. Something about it is not calibrated. Um, let's see what else is there.
Bill, with me, can I ask you a question before you go any further?
No problem.
You talk about power,
Mhm.
and I'm going to give you some pushback, man, because this is an important subject.
Mhm.
To the point that I've had disagreements with people about this at higher levels. First things first, how old are you, boss?
I'm 25.
Have you ever wielded any power at all?
See, for me, they're not big scale, but I just go based off like the micro situations in my life, because people often end up deferring power to me because I took up responsibility.
Give me one example of somebody deferring actual power to you, because power is never deferred. Authority
Well,
is, power is never. Power is,
okay.
you heard
So
what
then,
Coach
can you
Munition
define
said
power then
earlier.
for me?
Go
Then
ahead.
can you define power then for me?
I'm sorry?
Could you define power for me then?
You're the one that came in speaking on power. I'm not beating you up. I'm just saying. And
Okay.
here, okay, let me back you up just a little bit.
All right.
From my military background,
Mhm.
when you're holding, your command can send somebody to their ultimate demise.
Mhm.
That's power. And I think that is one of the few topics that people speak so haphazardly on and have no idea what the F they're talking about. I'm not beating up on you. I'm just talking about in general. Don't take offense.
I don't.
Yeah. My humble opinion, you're not qualified to speak on that. And on such a large platform, I think that it's dangerous for you to even give any type of advice on that. My humble opinion.
I understand and I respect that.
All right.
But I thought I'm trying to like engage a little bit, because I do believe it's good to hear my sentiment. So I'm still going to push it forward, or because I'll give a very small example, and it's not that big, but it's just something I've noticed and a pattern I see in people who actually do wield authority, of power, and all these things. And it's, for example, like when you're doing a project, something very small, very basic. It's, if you guys don't do it, this is gonna fall apart. And you watch your team, they're supposed to be doing X, but they're doing everything but. And it looks like everything is going awry. Do you sit there and let that go to waste? And let your grade tank? No, you step into the leadership role and you say, yo, this is what we got to do. And you start finding out who's the weak link, and you start trying to organize as best as you can. I try not to force people, because I don't think that's the right way to go about it. But you still have to start checking people and try and make sure things are actually happening. So,
Hey, Bill, can I ask you something?
I'm listening.
Okay, in that scenario you just described, was
Mhm.
that authority or was that power?
So, you can say authority, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now
But
can I
wait, hold on.
just offer a slight observation and a bit of advice?
Sorry. Can you repeat?
Yeah, can I just offer you my slight observation and a bit of advice just based on the interaction that I just watched with you on WAPO?
No problem.
Okay. So you're 25.
Yeah.
I believe El Wapo is 41, 43.
Thank you, Will. No, I'm
Okay.
43.
Okay. So we were literally, I'm sitting here watching, and I'm not biased. I don't have a dog in the fight, but I'm watching the young blood essentially tell the elder, I heard what you said, but F that, I'm gonna get mines off anyway. Right? Because what he
See,
said, what he trying, wait, hold on
darn.
one second. Hold on one second.
No, I get you.
Because essentially what he said was, if you understand authority and if you understand power, he said, as somebody that speaks exclusively, not only am I a thought leader on this, I wield and exercise power and authority. So I understand both. He laid that out to you, and I'm summarizing. And he said it would be dangerous. He said, I don't find you qualified, right? And it would be dangerous, in his opinion, for you to, I mean, I guess almost deliver inaccurate information on a platform with this size. At that point, my opinion, it would have been better for you to consider what he was saying, respect the authority and the position that he's in. And then maybe today is not the day that I give my opinion. Maybe another day I can come back and give my opinion. Does that make sense? And I hope that's not coming off wrong. I mean, I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. And all right, I'm not trying to push back. I'm not trying to come off in any way. I just want to make that clear. The only thing is though, because he had asked me for an example, and that's kind of why I kind of was trying to at least give a small microcosm of something. But I get what you're saying, because there's as in most things in life, there's levels to this. So
you're right with that, Bill. And listen, this is good. Brothers out here, anybody that's watching, this is what it takes. These are the uncomfortable conversations that we have to have with the next generations so that they can be at a point where they can set expectations and speak from a place of understanding and authority. You gave your example. I would disagree that that's real power. Real power is, this is going to seem like a flex. I'm not trying to flex. I can make a call right now and take a person's income and their ability to feed their family. I could fire them just like that. At will employment, that's power. That's power. I wouldn't do it, but that's power. Do you understand? I
get that, but isn't that responsibility also?
We're talking
like that don't coincide.
Dealing specifically in power.
Okay, just power alone. Okay.
I'm just trying to give you, you said it yourself, which is cool. There are levels to this. There's a big difference between the project and the power to promote somebody into a position, hire somebody, change their financial future for their family in a positive or a negative way. Sending the
person that gave him the project.
Right. Yeah. Sending that troop into the line of fire. That is power. I'm just throwing it out there. But I'm glad that you're having this conversation. And it's cool to ask the questions. Now, with Spider-Man, great power comes great responsibility, of course. But I like saying you have to be able to administer justice. All right. You have to act justly when you wield power. Otherwise, you get into that tyranny and stuff you talked about. But 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Great place to start. Okay. I would definitely pick up that book and start reading it. I read it. You said you're 25?
Yeah, I actually have the book. I'm not done with it yet, but that's one of the things it's talking about.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, I do
gotta
disagree though.
Man. Go ahead.
I do got to disagree somewhat with one thing that y'all said though. Y'all been spot on for the rest. I think y'all said power has to be taken. Is that what I heard?
Well, that's my premise, because like it's given, yes, but it's only given to the people who actually decide to do something to get it. That's how
which is what I was about to get to, because all power is I think the definition is something like the ability to influence behavior. That's what power is. That's what the official definition of it is. I don't feel like that has to be taken. I feel like that comes from just results and you just move in a certain way. That's just like in the neighborhood, right? You got gangs, right? We don't have to have a conversation as to who's leading this gang. Who the leader of the gang, he done put a lot of work in to get that title. He done went and did this, he done went and did that. So everybody around him kind of understands, okay, we gonna move according to how big bro moving. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like with anything else in life. I feel like if you just move a certain way, say for instance a relationship, if you move like a grown ass man, we ain't gotta sit down and have no conversation. I don't have to belittle you. I don't have to do that. It's just he moves like a grown ass man. So I'm gonna get in line. I'm gonna follow that. Even amongst friend circles, same thing. If you put 10 dudes in a room, the power is gonna find its way to who it's supposed to find its way to. It ain't gotta have a conversation. We ain't gotta fight over it. We ain't gotta do nothing over it. It's just how a certain person is moving. That's gonna influence behaviors. And that's what power is. So that's the only thing that I disagree. I don't feel like power has to be taken. I feel like if you just move a certain way, power is results oriented. If you prove that what you're doing works, motherfuckers is gonna fall in line. And that's in any aspect of life.
See, this is
Okay.
the bigger conversation. That's why I'm gonna step back on it because there's a lot more to be said on that. And as it was clearly stated, like you guys are Guapo and the fellow gentleman here, you have probably a stronger and better stance on it, and it might be more fleshed out than mine. And so I'm gonna just rescind because I do have some thoughts, but it's probably not best right now.
Yeah, bear with me. I gotta move on to a few more callers and then get these gentlemen back to reality. I definitely appreciate the support. I know you call in a lot. You want to say something? I just saw your mouth. You good?
Yeah, I was gonna just try
Yeah,
to
real
like
quick,
you
real
asked
quick.
me a question last week, and it's like, and it
Oh,
was like, what is
we
love? So
ain't
I
talking about
literally
last
took the
week.
time and sat that out and try to like, because I think it covers a lot of things, but I'll do it another time. The one question I wanted to add, because the mention of jealousy kind of did come up again in terms of how men react in terms of dealing with women. There's a couple things I was gonna go through, but it's fine. But I would like to just ask this one question, and it was is jealousy what people call jealousy nowadays in terms of a man in a relationship? Is it really jealousy or is it more so male intuition? Because yeah, if you're not moving a certain way, you know when you're messing up. There's a whole lot of factors into it, but at the same time, you know when somebody is preying or moving into your territory, and it's almost by nature you protect it. So that's when I don't get when people have an issue with a man being concerned for their woman or what's happening around them.
I'm confused as to the question. Are you asking? So you're saying, is it jealousy? I heard the, is it jealousy? But then I'm not really following the question. What are you asking exactly? Make it real simple for us.
Okay, so is it when you are in a relationship of some kind, right?
Okay.
And something has presented itself that seems to be encroaching upon your territory.
Okay. Somebody's trying to holler at you.
Something like that. It doesn't even have to be. There can be other things also.
Other
But
things like what? Other things like what?
well, then there's other situations like your possessions, your finances. Like you see people are moving your position at work. Is
Okay.
is it,
Well, you open it up with you're in a relationship.
yeah,
So
I know. I'm
can
sorry. That
imagine.
was just like the easiest one to kind of go with. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we can roll with either one. Okay. So we got that far. Now next.
All right. That you start to, I guess, like check your area. You start checking your territory. So there's certain actions you take that might come off as being insecure. But is it really insecure? Or is that the fact that you're making sure that your defenses are good? Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. You're saying basically you see somebody checking for your stuff, and when you start to lock things down, check the locks, make sure the windows are closed. Some people may perceive that as insecurity, but you may think I'm just trying to lock down my stuff and make sure my car's, make sure everything is safe. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I have an opinion. I think it's almost a hybrid of both. It could be a bit of both of it, fellas. It can be some insecurity, because what if you don't do anything, and next thing you know, you get your possessions taken, you get your girl snatched. So let's keep it in the context of a relationship. As you first started off, let's not talk about possessions, cars, or jobs. You're in a relationship with a girl, you like her, everything is going good, but then somebody else is checking for her. Maybe your neighbor across the street is always nice and always, whenever she comes outside, he's always complimenting her, and you kind of see him, trying to make a move on your woman. At that point, what do? Well, one, do you sit in your confidence and say, man, I ain't worried about him. My woman's my woman and she's good. Or do you have to go check him and say, yo, man, I see you talking to my girl. And man, just kind of back up, bro. Keep it cool. It depends. It depends on which action you take. Go ahead, JR.
I was just gonna say, I mean, if it's just him flirt, which most guys typically do, a lot of guys don't give a damn about you. So, I mean, if it's just them just doing what men do, then it's fine. But if he does something like straight disrespect, would be like, she walking by and he grab her hand or something like that, or trying to, touch her, or, coming up to her like, fuck your man. Like, no, I wouldn't even say that if she said that shit. But just as long as it's not nothing physical and coming within like personal space, like harassment. You know, that's like kind of like the line for me. But anything else, you know, if he whistling over there on the other side, or he's staying at her with the water hose when he watering his garden or something like that, I don't give a damn about that shit. I mean, if she fine, she fine. I mean, you can't stop every man from looking at your woman. But if it's just something that becomes like physical or within like personal space where, you know, she's getting like offended, it still depends even at that point. I would have to assess the situation when it comes to me, but I'm just not gonna just jump because I'm confident in me. You know, now if she's doing something behind my back, you know, still I would think it's something that I would think it's me. You know, you might be slipping in a certain area. You might not be.
You need to check and see. The first thing I would do when you talk about line of defense is it insecurity, is you need to look at your woman and how she's moving. Have you ever heard the cliche, don't tell me what somebody said about me, tell me why they felt comfortable telling it to you? See, it's not so much about you've heard that cliche, like, don't tell me what other people say about me. I know people out there talking shit about me. I just want to know why they felt comfortable telling it to you. And if they and so when a lot of times to the insecurity side, if your woman is accepting that flirtatious move, if your woman is out there batting her eyes at the stranger or at the neighbor across the street every time he throws her a compliment, if she's not shutting that shit down, then at that point you got to start looking at what you're not doing right and why you got to start looking at what kind of woman you got, one,
Right.
And maybe what you're
It's
not doing
all
right
with
now.
the woman. It ain't with the guy unless he just crossed the line. But
everybody's gonna want your stuff. Everybody's gonna want your stuff, Bill. With me, they're gonna want your car. They're gonna want your jewelry. They're gonna want your possessions. They're gonna want
your position.
They're gonna want your job position. They're gonna want your woman. Everybody, you're gonna go through all your life with everybody else wanting your stuff. Jealousy and envy is two sides of the same coin. Jealousy is normally when we talked about this on the show. Jealousy is normally when somebody wants your shit. Envy is when somebody would like to have the same shit that you have. Right? Two sides of the same coin. Point is, you're gonna go through life with that for the rest of your life. How you move about that is depending on the possessions themselves. If the possessions can't protect themselves, like your car, then you got to do what you need to do. That's not insecure. That's you locking down your car. That's why we lock our cars and we put alarm systems on them. But when you got something that can make that decision, you can't be stupid. But when you got something that can make the decision, like a woman, you know, you want to make sure that you with a woman who's gonna lock herself down. And that you don't necessarily need to do that. And if she's out there accepting these advances, she's accepting cat calls, she thinks it's cute, then you probably want to reevaluate the nature of your association.
Yeah, you might need to move on, man. You can't save them. Can't save them, man.
Yeah, but this goes to your point, Jared, that you mentioned earlier. I'm not gonna be on. I'm gonna just end it off on this. But that's about men not vocalizing their issues because they're usually seen as being emotional or you're acting like a girl or something when you say that you take issue with something. So it's just one of those things. That's why I'm kind of like posing it. Like oftentimes people are trying to tell you that, yeah, you shouldn't feel this way, but if there's an issue, you should be able to talk on issue. But obviously you shouldn't be getting emotional about it.
I mean, if she ain't your wife, man, this ain't really too much energy, man. I mean,
and be careful of sign language, man. Be careful of sign language. You know that BGS made that up. You know what that stands for, right? Bill with me.
I heard it once. I don't remember right now. I'm sorry.
Shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. Need to be right is the worst one. But a lot of times people will use sign language on you. They'll shame you, they'll insult you, and they'll guilt you for a lot of stuff. And men, we have to be able to identify when people is using sign language and avert that shit the way Neo did in the Matrix. Dodge that stuff as bullets. Oftentimes women will be out there, man, they'll make you feel bad about doing something that's totally normal simply because they are fucking up. Don't allow that to happen, bro. And it's real tough, especially in these days, especially, I don't know if you grew up in a single parent home.
No,
you got a lot of men, huh? Okay, good.
No, I didn't.
Okay, pay attention to what Pops did. Every time your mother may have threw sign language at him, potentially. If your dad dodged it, learn the techniques. Go to him and ask him about it. So when somebody tries to make you feel bad about a certain thing, I'd be like, I don't feel bad about what I'm saying. Stand firm when you're square, as Chicago Rilla says. Cool.
All right, build up there. I mean, build with me. I'm sorry. I said build.
You call that nigga
I'm
Build a
fine. Thank you
Bear.
for your time.
I appreciate you.
Flavor.
Call him
Flavor
a Build a
violation.
Bear.
It's getting late. It's getting late. We're
Cut
starting
your
to mess
camera
up.
Unplug, JR. Unplug. Damn. That Joker said build a bear. Yeah.
Oh man. Hey, yes, sir. Hey, we got 3 people down here. Let me just say keep it like 2 minutes, man. Let me get this gentleman back to their realities. So 2 minutes, brothers, 2 minutes. I'm gonna start with you. And no more people out of these 3 people. Gotta turn the YouTube off, sir. I check back with you. Turn the YouTube off. Go ahead. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Good. Salute to everybody on the panel.
Okay.
Just like the last caller, I'm pretty young. I'm 24. I'm actually from Canada, but I just wanted to give you guys your flowers and set you on your way. But yeah, JR, I appreciate your creativity. Appreciate your creativity. You're really bring like really good questions each live stream. Chicago Rilla, I really appreciate your wordplay is really creative. The live streams wouldn't be the same without you. Shannon, you're a great addition to the panel. Great to have you on. Trill, it's nice to see like a young brother married and giving his perspective. It's pretty good. El Guapo, I also like your side of ideas and perspective. It's really interesting. And Mr. Kosher, I talked to you last week. I don't know if you remember, but yeah, I actually can't hear you guys. I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
No, we just taking our
We're
flowers.
giving you the floor.
We taking our
Okay, no.
flowers.
Yeah, no. So yeah, just wanted to give you flowers, and then I had one question though. So let's say like you're in a relationship with a girl, and you guys ended things, and then like
Said you what?
you guys ended the relationship, right? And like let's say you wanted to just like contact her, see how she's doing because she was, a good woman, and would you guys recommend that, or would you guys say just leave it?
Nope, just leave it. Just keep
You
doing
can't say
you.
wait. First you can't say you guys ended the relationship. Ain't no relationships are ended by you guys. Who ended the relationship? Did you get dumped or did you dump her?
I did because I was moving.
Okay, so you were moving.
I moved. Yeah,
and you didn't want to do a long distance because I don't believe in long distance relationships. So you didn't want to do long distances. So you just said, you know what, since I'm not gonna be here, let's go ahead and end it so you could do what you're doing while you're still here, and I could do what I'm doing where I'm at.
Well, she didn't want long distance either, so it's kind of mutual.
Okay, but it didn't end on a bad note. You guys are still friends.
I mean, she hasn't contacted me, and it seems like she has kind of resentment towards me because that's typically what women do. I'm not shaming them, but that's just a natural response. Kind of, I'm feeling that's how they roll in a way.
Is she still in your city?
No.
Man,
no, he moved.
About it, man.
He moved.
Yeah,
but
I know he moved.
It.
I just, yeah, I mean, just
he missed that. He missed that old thing.
Yeah.
He want that old thing back.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard.
Not even that. It's just kind of like reaching out, trying to see how she is. Cause
you missed her, bro. It's okay. You miss it. You miss it with that. You miss what it feel like. You can tell us.
Move on.
You miss.
Then move on.
Man.
You're 25 years old. And focus on your purpose.
She got social media. You can check on her. She's alive, but calling her to talk to her and all that is gonna just make things worse, bro.
Israel.
I was in the army. Let me tell you a quick story. I was in the army. I ETS. I got out the army in 1994. Right, got out in 1994. I was a young sergeant. I was dating my staff sergeant's daughter. I was in love with her. I thought I was in love with her, and I was in New York. I was based at Fort Drum, New York. I'm from LA, so I'm getting out in summer of '94, and I'm moving back to LA. But she's just a military kid. She's not coming with me. I didn't propose to her, but I thought we were in love. So I told her, I said, listen, we're gonna just break up. Let's just break up. And if we truly love each other, we'll find our way back. That's some shit that I said fucking 25 years ago. 2 months later, she was pregnant by some other nigga that I never knew about. 2 months, 60 days later, snapped me up, woke me up. I was like, God damn. I said, well, it took her 2 months not to meet somebody. She was pregnant in 2 months. She didn't call me either, just like your woman ain't called you. Likely, she was mad that you moved and didn't say anything, but likely she's chilling, bro. She's doing her thing. And I know you think about her and you want to check on her and make sure she's fine. I need you to just go ahead and move on too.
Oh yeah, 100%. I understand your story, and it's not more so like I miss her. It's more so, you know, in this day and age, people just yeah. I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. In this day and age, people just move on like that. You know, I just wanted to be a little different. But like last word is Mr. Kosher. I will contact you soon for that consultation. And yeah, thanks guys. You guys are amazing.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the support. Catch you on the rebound. All right. What's up, Jay? Welcome to the. You still got the YouTube on, man. I gotta take the YouTube off. What's up, Joel?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hold on real quick. I know you hear me, Jay. Turn the YouTube off. You need to only have StreamYard on. Only StreamYard. So whatever the YouTube browser is, I don't know if you got a Mac or Windows, but on the Mac, you can see a little speaker thing or something like that. Means just close your browser. Just only thing should be open up is StreamYard. That's it. Otherwise, it's gonna be feedback. I see your response. What's up, Joel? Briefly.
What's good? Hey, what's up? What's good, Shan? All the fellas on the panel. How y'all doing? I actually did have a question that I kind of wanted to raise out. It was I actually made a show about it. Do modern women value women? Mainly because of the way they value themselves today, or would like to try to value themselves, and how if you guys are familiar with the term or with the saying, imitation is the best form of flattery, and how they try to portray themselves as men and value themselves as men. Like, hey, I went out here, I was able to slay the dragon on my own. Pretty much, they try to value themselves in the dating market like men. So that's why I kind of wanted to ask that question, which is modern women today. I know it's probably the majority of all women, especially in the West, but I know for sure from what I see from my own experience, it is the majority of Black women in general. But do you guys believe that modern women do value that feminine, role today?
I like how you close that out, because when you first asked it, do modern women value women? That's a tougher task to answer. But do modern women value femininity? Absolutely not. And it's to their own detriment, because here, my opinion is that the power of femininity is actually stronger than the power of masculinity. I do believe that. I know that men have to embrace their masculinity for society to prevail, but we do all this, built the world up to the way that it is to provide comfort for the feminine. We didn't do it for us. When my lady was stuck in Colombia for 3 months, I'm sitting here like, man, I don't need all this house. I'm in like 3 rooms. I don't even need it. You know what I'm saying? So, no, modern women do not value their femininity, and it's effing them up, man, because that's where their power lies. Ask Brittany Renner.
Well, it's funny you brought up Brittany Renner, but I do plan on diving into her because I believe she's so messed up to where.
You had one question, Joel.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
He ready to dive into Brittany Renner.
Yeah, I know.
No pun intended.
Double entendre. I see what you did there, Rilla.
All right, Joel, let me get to this last person, man. I appreciate the support. Thank you, brother. Let's try this now. I still got it, man. Hey, Jay. How many browsers hold on, let's try this real quick. How many browsers do you have open?
Only one.
Impossible.
No, turn off the TV.
You turn off the TV. On your computer, how many browsers do you have open?
I'm talking to you on my phone.
Look at your phone.
He may have echo cancellation turned off under the settings. On the settings, all you have to do is click audio, and then make sure echo cancellation is checked. The checkbox is blue.
I ain't never heard that, Shan. I think he got something open. He got YouTube playing on his phone. That's what it sounds like.
Jay, is you laying on your stomach talking to us?
No, man, I'm in my recliner. My recliner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we ain't gonna be able to have a conversation like this.
Yeah,
You
I
hear me
guarantee
good
you
now?
ain't echo cancellation.
All right, I'm gonna give you, hey Jay, I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds, man. If we can't get it together, it's no disrespect, but it's just gonna be a bad experience on the end for the viewers. So I'm gonna give you 30 seconds and see if you get it together. We appreciate
JR.
you guys. Go ahead.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to throw out.
Hey,
Oh, it's still jacked
see
up.
if you can get it together, man. I got you on mute. Don't unmute it. I'll unmute you. You just try to get it together. You stay keep unmuting though. Jay, you got to work with me, not against me. Okay, he dropped off. He gone.
Oh man.
Go ahead, Coach.
I think
Coach,
Coach
you're
Wapo.
muted.
I mean,
Okay,
Wapo,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
It's getting
Israel
late.
brought up
Damn.
something real good, asking about contacting the girl. And I always talk about success leaves clues and success principles translate. Here's the thing. When you're in sales, right, there's always a part of the conversation where the proposition is presented. A price has been given for a good product or service. And there's something that's well known in the sales world that once the salesperson drops that price for that good product or service, the first person to speak after that loses. They automatically lose. So Israel, if you're the first one to reach out to her, it's the same thing in relationships, whether it's amicable or not. The first one that reaches out after that for communication always puts themselves in the inferior position. All right. Not the superior position. The person that's willing to hold out and wait to be contacted is the one that's going to be in the superior position. So
yeah, you gotta be focused on yourself, man. If she miss you, she gonna see you leveling up and see you living your life and all smiles and wondering like, damn, you really forgot about me, huh? She's gonna reach back. Y'all agree? The church say amen.
Amen.
Okay. Well, we definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in to King Talk on the Lapeef Network. It's been a great show. I want to say thank you, brothers Trill, Rella, Wapo, Kosha, Shan. You guys are awesome, man. Make sure you guys follow these individuals on their platform. Shan has a platform. Kosha does. Trill is with Cruise Season, you see right there, and Wapo, Beautiful Lives, man. They have awesome content. Awesome. I am subscribed to each and every last one of them. Trill, I already know I've been a fan with him since day one. They're doing some great things. And we appreciate all the super chats, all the constant support that you guys give the platform. Keep supporting King Talk, man. It's only growing. It's only getting bigger. And we're going to be here every Tuesday at 7:30 Central Time. Until next time, we out. Thank you, guys.
Love, bro.
All right.
All right, brother. All right.
them likes up. Get them likes up, y'all. Get them likes up. Appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. It's the greatest show ever. Greatest network ever. Get them likes up, y'all. Get them likes up. You know what it is, man. You know I gotta get the vibes for you guys. You know how we do. Shout out to Tej Handling. Make sure you guys get that skincare. Uncomplicated skincare for men. I got the link pinned to the top right there. It's right at the top. Click it out. Check them out. At least check it out. Just click the link. Got all type of products, man. Get yourself a free gift. Click that link at the top right there.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Hello, motherfucker. Ain't nobody. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody. Ain't nobody. Ain't nobody got. Ain't nobody. Ain't nobody.
And make sure y'all check out that Tej Handling, man. I use that shit every morning and night. Skincare for men. Uncomplicated skincare for men. Click that link at the top right there. It's pink. It's also in the description as well. Shout out to Shan. I see you, Shan. Appreciate the love, brother. Hey, Shan is dope. Make sure y'all get Shan a follow on this platform. High Value Shan. Check him out.
Ooh la la.
Bruh.
Ooh la la.
Bruh.
It's the last song, y'all. Last song. Enjoy. If you missed it, catch the replay, man. There's a lot of value in this talk. A lot of value in this talk tonight, man. The gentleman definitely showed up tonight, man. Catch the replay. Make sure you hit that like button. Hey, shout out to the youth, man. Y'all showing out, man. We appreciate the support. The 24, 25-year-olds, man. Build with me, Israel. Shout out to y'all, brothers, man. Y'all definitely getting the game at an early age, man. That's what's up, man. I love when I see young men seeking knowledge, man, perspectives. We don't have all the answers, but we give y'all something to think about. Y'all hit that like button. Hit the like button one time for the brother. Hit the like button for the network, man. Is this not the greatest network ever? Let me know. Hit that like button. And we got a live stream tomorrow, and then we also got Lapeef Let's Talk on Thursday. Yep. That was the last track, man. Again, thank you guys for tuning in tonight to King Talk. It definitely was epic. Every time I get to bring the guys together, man, we always do something special. And without the constant support for you guys, I can't stress this enough. We would not be here if it wasn't for you guys supporting us. We have our job and you guys have your job. And the fact that you guys can support us like this, it just makes us just want to just keep hitting it every single time, every week. King Talk is on Tuesdays at 7:30 Central. Be here next week. I'm out, y'all.